Hey, trader, want to get rich quick? Well, good luck with that. If, on the other hand, you actually want to learn how to trade, the place to be is www.cfrn.net. Tune in Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern for our daily devotional, and then spend the next 3 hours learning how it's done from professional traders who actually trade for a living. That's www.cfrn.net. Every trading day from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro, and even T-bills. Joining us today from our studios in Boston, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Friday, 26th day of May, 2017. Now, I'm confident because I checked the calendar. All right. Happy Friday to each and every one of you, to all that are returning. Let me just say welcome back. To those of you who might be on the premises for the very first time, a very special welcome to you. Some digital red carpet, please. Okay. That's nice. Thank you. Now, here's the deal. Some of you can only hear the sound of my voice. For some of you, that's all you can stand. Or you're driving, or you're operating heavy machinery. Now, little known secret. If you go to our homepage at CFRN.net, on the right-hand side of the homepage, if you should endeavor to click that big microphone, it will take you to a page that says Watch Live Now. Click that. Guess what? You'll be able to see the charts. Not only will you be able to see the charts throughout the show, but you'll have access to the chat box. Now, we have a global audience. And I'm talking from mansions to mud huts. People around the world are listening to this broadcast. If you have always wanted to tell the world something, whatever that something might be, if you type it into the chat box, I'll clean it up because this is family radio, and I'll share it with our global audience. And if they have a response or whatever, well, by golly, I'll share that too. Now, that's huge. Whether it's a thought, an idea, a trading tip, you know, how you knocked it out of the park this morning, although we don't like to brag too much, but, you know, if you had a great day, there's nothing wrong with sharing that. Okay, if you had a rough day, you need a shoulder to cry on, well, you had a whole lot of shoulders here who have been in your shoes. Now, you can also take the easy way out. You can simply go to youtube.com/CFRN. When it loads, you'll see one of our videos, but there'll be a little red square that says live. If you click that, it will take you into the live broadcast where you'll hear me and you will see the charts. There's a chat box over there too. I have mastered both chat boxes at the same time. I didn't think I could do it, but by the grace of God, I did. However, I left an important piece of equipment in the other room, so if you're on the YouTube channel, I won't be able to chat with you until Michael comes on, and then I'll go grab the other piece of equipment, and it's streaming over there. I don't need the equipment to do that, just to be able to chat with you, okay? So, here's what we're going to do. It's Friday, and I know everybody wants to get off into this holiday weekend, so we're going to move at a brisk pace, which for us is sort of like, you know, Mexico time. No offense to anyone in Mexico. We have a mission there, and life is laid back and easy. If we agree to meet at 2 and you don't show up till 4, nobody gets ticked off. That's just the way life is. Slow and easy. And I kind of like that. I'll never forget one time we got there. I woke up on a Saturday morning in our little trailer on the beach. We have a mission, but we used to have a little trailer on the beach. We woke up, we're laying there in bed, chit-chatting, me and the wife, and I said, honey, I'm not going back. She said, well, I thought the food was fine. I go, no, I don't mean the restaurant last night. She said, well, what are you talking about? I said, I'm talking about America. She started laughing. She says, you have to go back. You have a job, we have a house, we have responsibilities. I go, I know, but, it's all stuff. This life's going to be over in the twinkling of an eye in the scope of eternity. So I feel really comfortable and really happy. I woke up hungry. I can't wait to get to that buffet down the beach. I'm not going home. She said, yeah, right. And she goes, takes her shower, comes out, and she says, have you changed your mind yet? I said, no, I'm actually composing an email that I'm going to send to all my friends, business associates, and family, and let them know that I now live in a very small trailer on the beach in Puerto Penasco. She said, you're such a nut. Finally, by Sunday, she talked me into going back across the border, back to the real world, back to life as we knew it. And then we just kept going every other weekend for years. That 4-hour drive, we could just, on Friday afternoons, we would leave the office early. All my employees would come outside and wave goodbye because they knew we were going to the mission and we were going to do good deeds and run the Saturday Soup Kitchen. And it was a family affair. Just like everything that Michael and I do, we do it in the name of CFRN. And so that embraces the partners, but it also embraces the community at large. Because I get tons of emails from people that say, hey man, I really want to become a partner. I've been following you for however long, and once I have the money to fund my account, and once I have the money to pay for my training, and of course I'm going to keep my day job if I have one, and for others it's I have a check that comes in every month from the military or the company I retired from or my trust fund or whatever the case might be. So, because I'm very cautious with people about that. Okay, when people call me and start talking about, okay, I got this much money, I'm going to fund the account and I'm going to pay for the education, but I need you to teach me quick because my mortgage payment's due on the 15th of next month. And I say, whoa, hey, hang on, buddy. That dog won't hunt. And they're like, well, what do you mean? I go, number one, scared money always loses. And number two, it's the 25th of this month. I cannot teach you how to become a consistently profitable trader in 20 days or 25 days. In fact, because I don't know you, I don't know what your background is. I don't know if you have discipline or patience, or I don't know if you have the ability to think in probabilities. I don't know you from jack. So I can't promise you anything. And even if I knew all that stuff, I still couldn't promise you anything. Everyone is unique, and everyone is going to arrive, from here to where they want to be on God's time, not mine. I don't believe in God. Well, that's okay. You're still going to arrive on His time clock, not yours. So, I'll be happy to talk to you today, answer any questions that you have. But I'm not going to take you on as a client until you have sufficient capital to pay for an education, fund an account, and you have at least 1 year of savings in the bank that will cover all of your bills every single month. It's going to take a year to learn this? Probably not. If you behave, follow the rules, I have high hopes that we can get you there before a year. But we're not a get-rich-quick scheme. Some people say we're a slow boat to China. But the good news is, over the horizon, there really is a China. Okay? And eventually the boat will get there. Speaking of boats, this morning in the live training room, we gave away a vacation to Mexico at a fine resort. On today's show, on this radio program, we're going to give away a cruise. Oh, yeah. Now, you have a month to register, and then you have, I believe it's up to a year to actually take the cruise. I know what you're thinking. Oh, God, I got to sit through this crazy timeshare. There is no timeshare presentation. There's no sales pitch. Yeah. Now, there are some taxes. There are, you got to come up with a couple of dollars out of your pocket. But the value of this trip, of this cruise that we're going to give you, I think it's right around $3,000. Okay? Now, that's before you take the couple dollars out of your pocket. Okay? It's sweet. Now, the way we did it in the live training room this morning is we had my daughter Emily come in, and I presented her with a list of names of everybody that was present, and I said, honey, you don't know any of these people, so just take a look at the list and just point at one of the people. And Michael, the winner was, I know his last name was Hash, because I immediately looked at her and I said, you're 9 years old. Why did you pick Hash? And he said, it just looked interesting, Dad. Now that I've said his last name, I probably shouldn't say his first name because we promise people anonymity. So I guess we'll leave it at that. We said it in the live training room. You know what? I think if somebody gives you a vacation, you should be able to say their name. I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Let me give folks the numbers real quick, and then you can come do the recap. Are you in a hurry today? Planes, trains, and all that whatnot?
I don't have planes and trains today.
All right. I won't keep you too long. Okay, guys, here are the numbers from the cash markets, all right? We'll start in the U.S. The Dow is down almost 9 points. NASDAQ is up almost a half a point. Up, just went half a point. S&P 500 is red. It's down, but, it's down, but not even a point. Russell 2000 is down almost 4 points, and that's it for the U.S. Everything's red, just barely, except the NASDAQ, which is positive by 0.93, which is 0.02%. So does that sound like holiday trade to you? It sure does to me.
Yes.
Crude oil is up 55 cents, trading 49.45. Gold, go gold, up $9.60, trading 1265.80. That's up 0.75%. As we scoot down to the Asian markets, the Nikkei closed down 126 points. It's a little over 0.5%. The Shanghai closed up 2 points, and the Hang Seng closed up 8.5 points. So Asia's mixed. The only mover and shaker there is the Nikkei, a little over 0.5% to the downside. Last but not least, Europe is mixed as well. The FTSE closed up 29 points. DAX closed down 19.5 points. And the CAC closed down 0.5 point. That's a change of 0.01%. So apparently, even though Europe doesn't do Memorial Day, that looks like holiday trade to me as well. So very quiet in Europe, very quiet in Asia, and at the moment very quiet here in the US of A. The NASDAQ just went up a full point, back to 99 cents. And it's up 0.02%. So those are the numbers around the world. It's a beautiful day here in Phoenix, Arizona. I've got my window cracked. If I could find my phone. Man, I hate it when that happens. Hey, Mike, you ring my phone, and so I can find it.
Sure. On it.
Since my stinking magic jack. Oh, I found it. Never mind. I got it. Let's just see what the day holds. Currently, it's 84 degrees. Here it is. That was cool. The high today is going to be 94. Anytime we don't break 100, that's pretty good. And the good news is tonight it's going to get down to 68. In Phoenix, Arizona, even when it hits 100 at the height of the day, as long as it gets down below 80 at night, the concrete cools off, so you have a nice evening, and the following morning is nice, as it is nice now. 84 is nice. Over the weekend, we're looking at a high of 97, Sunday 101, then 105, then 103, and then 99. But the good news is that the overnight lows are all in the 70s. So we've still got at least one more week of weather where you don't have to wear one of those flame retardant suits when you run from your front door to your car. And I'm sure you folks, already have this, but I never had it before. I can sit in my office and I can point my key fob at my daddy van, which is new to me, 2013. I let somebody else take the depreciation. I can crank that baby up and turn on the air conditioner. So, as I race from the front door to the car on those really hot 118 degree days, it's ice, baby ice inside. Now, I'm sure most of you have had that, toy forever. I tend to run behind the pack, so I'm pretty excited about it. Unfortunately, my wife's car, the Kia Soul, does not have that feature. So, too bad for her. Okay. All right. Here's how we're going to do it. Michael's coming in and giving us a recap of everything that happened in the live training room today. We had a continuation of the open house. Our Memorial Day special is still intact, as you can see from the screen right there. What we're doing is anyone who becomes a CFRN partner this weekend, that means you enter the 90-day mentoring program. That means you get to come into the live training room 2 hours a day, 5 days a week for 3 months. Plus, you get to come to the Thursday night workshops. Plus, you have access to the members area of the website where there's well over 1,000 hours of live training and live trading videos. There is also, we're building a library of other people's private mentoring sessions. With their permission, we record audio, video of their 45-minute session, and we put it in the library so that everyone can benefit. And I have gotten so much positive feedback. Stuff like, oh my gosh, I would have never thought to ask that question. It is just nothing but positive feedback. So to all of you partners who agreed to let us record and to publish, thank you. And to partners who, for whatever reason, don't want yours recorded, I can record it and just send you a private link. If you don't want it published for any reason, we will not be upset with you or hold it against you. We know that you have your reason. You don't even have to tell me the reason you don't. Just, I'd prefer you didn't. End of discussion. I won't bring it up again. As a partner, you also get the weekly trading zones every Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. While Wall Street's still sleeping, you're able to get your charts set up. We do the S&P, we do the Russell, we do the Dow, and we do Crude. I can do zones for any market, and I have done them by special request from time to time, and I've had private clients employ me for the purpose of creating zones for them on a particular market. And if you need something, if you need that kind of a service, feel free to contact me. Whether or not we can work something out that's equitable for you will depend, because it's quite time consuming. That's why I only do 4, because it's a Sunday night and I go to church with my family, I come home, I immediately go to work, and it's usually 9 o'clock, closing in on 10 o'clock my time. Before I get down to the family room, the kids are already in bed. My wife says, "Are you done?" And I'm like, "I'm done, honey." And then about 30 minutes into the show that we're getting ready to watch, I remember, I forgot to send Michael the OTAD passwords. And I race back upstairs, and she's just fed up. I wrote on the blog last night or somewhere, or I think it was in the email I sent out, if I don't change, she's going to throw me out. If the roles were reversed, I probably would have thrown her out a long time ago. So, anyway, that's my problem, not yours. So, when the S&P opened Sunday night, yellow arrow, okay. Now, on Friday, last Friday, we had a buy 2368 as part of the Concierge Alerts. By the close of business Friday, we had put in a high at 2388. So there was the potential for 20 points. There was 20 points available in that trade. Now, we never get out at the swing high or the swing low. Why? Because we trail our stop and or trade to a hard target. Therefore, we're going to always leave a little something on the table. Rather than let it eat at me, I just consider it leaving something for the next guy. Good karma, if you will. Okay? And by the way, those who, get twitchy when I say karma, have you ever heard what goes around comes around? Better yet, have you ever heard whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap? Yeah, it all means the same thing. All right. Sorry to burst. I hope I didn't topple any sacred cows there. Price tried to get to the zone overhead at 87.88. These are this week's zones. There just weren't enough buyers present to make it happen. But we did get up to 23.85 quarter. Okay. Then we came back down to the zone, hit it to the tick, I believe. The swing low was 23.78 and a quarter. Oh, okay. We missed it by a tick. Zones are an area, just like fibs. Now, I know it puts an exact number on your chart, but trust me when I tell you, it's an area, okay? So you're going to be trailing your stop real close, so when it doesn't touch it by a tick and runs up to the zone overhead, you still get a nice, walk away with a nice profit. Aggressive risk management. So it goes from zone to zone. Now that's 78 to 87. That's 9 S&P 500 E-mini points. We consolidate for 2 hours. Leg, retrace. Classic zone activity. What's happening is it's coming back to the zone to confirm that it is going to be good support. What was resistance just became support. And it comes back and checks one more time. And then we had an alert to consider buying 23.92, which ran up 5 1/4 points. Important prices, important areas are almost always tested. It came back to 23.92. Now, the truth of the matter is, it hit 92 on the nose. By the rules as they're written, it needs to go one tick below to create a new trade. So if it had gone one more tick south, then it would have delivered a trade that had 7.5 points available. Points, not ticks, 7.5 points at $50 per point. And we go sideways. We have we have a 2.5 point trade here on the alerts, a 4 point trade, and then we hit the zone. Okay, now that zone from 88 to 02, that would be 10. That's 14 points, but you had to be able to hold overnight. Not everyone can do that. All right, or no, you didn't have to hold overnight because, well, yeah, you had to be able to hold overnight. We can talk about that later if you want. Then we consolidate for a number of hours, and we make a run for the roses. We tag 24.11. It ends up giving us 1.5 points. That's basically a stop out. But if you have trained with me in a private mentoring session, it's actually a walk away. Because where the chart tells you to put your stop, it's too much risk. We never risk more than $300 per contract on a Concierge Trade Alert. Period. Okay? Now, over here, the risk is acceptable, and it gives us 5.5 points. That's what the market makes available. You won't get it all, because when it pulls back, you'll get your trailing stop will get you stopped out with profit. Ring the bell, that's a good thing. Price gets back below the trigger and hands over 4.5 points per contract. Okay, and that brings us up to today, and we have one zone left overhead, 42 or 32.33, and unless something big happens, we're heading into a 3-day weekend. No radio Monday, no training room Monday, but there will be concierge alerts Sunday night. Great time to take the trial, guys. Cost you $1. Now, all the stuff I listed off that you get if you become a partner over the weekend, or anytime you become a CFRN partner, enter the 90-day mentoring program. I think I also told you about the weekly trading zones. That's how I got into this discussion. Plus, you own the indicator set for life. Any updates or changes that we make to it, which I don't think we've done in 5 years, you are entitled to those updates, even if you don't remain an active partner. Well, what does active partner mean? At the end of your 90 days, we don't kick you to the curb. If you found a home, if you like hanging out with us, you still want to come to the training room occasionally, just to shoot the breeze with the guys, or, share some comments, thoughts, ideas, or just listen. Maybe some people like background noise when they're trading. Still want to come to the workshops, still want to get those weekly zones. We have partners that they remained active because they trade nothing but the zones. They think the indicators are great and all the other stuff we do, they think it's fine. But for them, because they have trading experience, they take those zones, and that's just kind of all they need, because they know that price is going to go from zone to zone, or it's going to at least try to go either to the zone overhead or the zone below. And because I've taught them how to read a chart, they know what the market is trying to do, and there's their trade. Okay, but in the beginning, I want you to learn the rules-based trading exactly the way Michael teaches it. If you try and hopscotch over that and become a discretionary trader, forget about it. You're going to end up blowing up your account, and you're going to blame it on me when I plainly told you, don't do that. Okay? You need to follow the formula. You need to trust the process. First couple weeks, you just play around with the platform, get used to clicking the button and making sure you know how everything works, and you're learning the strategy at the same time. About 2 weeks in, you begin your 10-day journey. Before the 24/20 blueprint is going to green light you to go live with one contract, you're going to need to put together 10 consecutive trading days in a row where you make $100 in 10 trades or less. Now, the blueprint is very forgiving because it assumes in the math that it's going to take you 10 trades every single day to make your $100. We all know that's not true. We all know that some days you'll get it in one trade, and other days it'll take more than 10 trades. But on the day that it takes you one trade, the 9 trades you don't use roll forward into the kitty, okay? And you use them on a day like the other day when Michael had to take 12 trades. Was it 12, Michael?
Let's see. Yesterday,
I'm pretty sure there was a day this
7.
week it took you
Yeah.
12.
Yeah, it was 12 trades. Yep.
Yeah, but
Day before
see,
yesterday.
he didn't bat an eye because at this point he's got his cup runneth over with rollover trades. All right, and hopefully someday you'll sit in that same seat. Now there'll also be days when, let's say you're trading crude, you get stopped out with 3 ticks profit. You need 10 to be done for the day. Then you get stopped out with 4 ticks profit. Now you got 7 ticks, but that's okay. You got 7 ticks of profit. And then on the next trade, lo and behold, you got the wind at your back, and that thing just runs like a racehorse from the entry to the target. Ding, ding. And then you get a funny look on your face because you woke up with plans of getting 10 ticks in crude or gold, and you stumbled into 17 by accident. Okay. It took you 3 trades to do it, so you're rolling 7 trades forward, but you're also rolling 7 ticks forward. Now that's so important because let's say tomorrow you come in and on the first trade you get stopped out with 7 ticks. Okay, if you take another trade, you could get stopped out for 8 ticks. We always use an 8 tick hard stop on every market. So you take off your trading hat, put on your business manager hat, and you go, do I want to put myself through that? Or since I had 7 rollover ticks from yesterday, that's money I already earned, why don't I just use 3 of those ticks, add them to the 7 I just got today on the first trade, and call it a day. I'll still have plenty of trades to roll over, and I'll have plenty of ticks to roll over. What do you say? What do you say? So you put your trading cap back on, and you close the platform. You're done for the day, baby. Man, life's good. All right, it's time for Michael and his one-man show. Are you ready, sir?
Yes.
Or has this market put you to sleep?
Well, crude oil just had a nice move.
Did it? Okay. Well, you can show the good folks. Now, let me just finish one last thing. All that stuff I said you get if you enter the mentoring program, the Memorial Day special, you save $500 off the list price, and CFRN will build a home for a widow in Kenya, right across the border from our orphanage, a home with a door with a lock, so she sleeps safely at night. Okay, and on the side of that house will be a little plaque funded by your name, a CFRN partner. You know, in my mind's eye, I have a vision of a subdivision, you know. The CFRN company store. Who knows? Who knows what God's going to do next? I just know He's doing something, and He's asked us if we would lend a hand, because that's one of the first things in the mornings. I thank God that I woke up in my right mind and that I can, get up. And then I say, now, God, what can I do for you today? Some of us do it the other way around. We wake up and we lay out our laundry list of everything we need, And it says you have not because you ask not. Okay. But he already knows what you need. But again, you should, be open in prayer and tell God, hey, God, I could use some help here, and I'm struggling over here, and blah, blah, blah. But if you want to catch God's attention, let your first prayer of the day be, God, thank you for your mercy and for your grace. How can I help you today? And as your coffee's brewing, just shut up, let your mind go quiet, and listen to that still voice and see if he's got something for you today. Chances are he does. It's all yours, buddy.
Okay. Here we go.
I'll tell you as soon as I see your charts, and then I'll hit mute.
Okay. You should be seeing them now.
I got it, baby. Mute it is.
Here we go. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Friday, the 26th day of May, 2017. All right. Let me bring up this. Hang on. Here we go. All right. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go to the homepage here at CFRN.net, and right here, click right there to take the free trial. Once you click there, it'll bring you to this page right here. Fill out those 4 boxes, hit submit, and you'll be sent a confirmation link. Okay? You must click on the confirmation link. If you don't click the confirmation link, well, then you won't get the stuff for the free trial. But if you do click the confirmation link, then you'll be sent all the things that you need for your free trial. Okay? All right, the spreadsheet. If you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosure stuff down at the bottom. All right, today is the 26th of May. We made 7 ticks in the euro, 7 ticks in the YM, 15 ticks in crude, and 2 in gold to get us to 248.75 on the morning. This morning it took 6 minutes and 2 trades to get to the goal. At that point, we're at 103.75, and we took a total of 8 today. Okay, so on the month now, gross is 3,018.75. That's over 20 days, averaging 150 a day. Net with an $8 commission would be $13.94. With a $5 commission would be $2,003. On the year, the gross on the year over 100 days is 15,730. That's daily average of 157. Okay, 157. And that's that. Okay, so now let's go through this. We only have this one spot right here in gold. Got 2 ticks profit. I really didn't like the trade, but I put it on anyway. Right here, the cycle was flat and in the middle. Okay, we missed this one earlier on, but then gold just did nothing. During the break here, it just gave this momentum short trade right here, but it hadn't broken this dynamic support yet, so we wouldn't have done anything with that anyway. And that was it for the gold. The euro, our first opportunity here on the euro, was right in here, and we got 11 ticks on that one. We got 11 ticks on this first one right here. Then the next one over here, we got 4 ticks on to put us at plus 15, and we stopped out right there. We missed this follow-up one right here, and we stopped out there, putting us back down to plus 7. Okay, then it flattened out, made a big move down, then a big move back up, and it was just totally flat. Okay, at the end of the session this morning, there was a shorting opportunity off the BBC right there, and another one right there. Okay, and then during the break, well, actually, this was during the break, and then this one here was also during the break. You would have drawn a trend line up like this, and the short would have been right there. Okay, there would have been a momentum short right here, stop to break even, and that was it. That was it on the euro. We ended with +7 on the euro. Crude. On the crude, let's see, we had 4, correct? Yeah. The first one was right here. We got 6 ticks on that. The next one we got 7 ticks on, putting us at +13. Then we had 10 ticks here, putting us at +23. And then we stopped out, put us back down to +15. Okay. And now during the break, crude made, well, it had a trade right here that would have stopped out. Okay, and then it had another one right there, a momentum trade there, another one right here, and now the cycle's going down too steep to go long again. It's doing a cycle reset right now, it looks like. Okay, but we ended with +15 on the crude. On the YM, we had just this one opportunity right here this morning. That's where we got the goal for the day. On this one right here, we got 7 ticks profit on that, and that was enough to get the goal for the day. We missed this one, and this one, and this one. And you can see how choppy it got right in here. It got very choppy in there. The ES, we only pointed out this one right here, and you can see how choppy it was. It's just sideways-ness in there. Okay. Yeah. So on 526, we had 7 ticks on the euro, 7 ticks on the YM, 15 ticks on crude, 2 ticks on gold to get to 248.75 total. We made, it took 6 minutes and 2 opportunities to get to 103.75, and we took a total of 8 this morning. So on the month now, we're at 3,018. That's over 20 days, averaging 150 per day. On the year, we're at 15,730. That's over 100 days, averaging 157 per day. 157 per day. Okay. So again, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. To take a free trial with us, go to the home page here at CFRN.net, and this little thing is going to drop down right up here at the top. Just click here and fill in this little form right there. Fill in that little form, and that will be it. That's all you need to do. You'll be sent a confirmation link, and you just got to click on that confirmation link. Okay, if you don't click the confirmation link, you do not get the free form. I mean the free trial, because we don't know you took it. Let's see. Pete, good afternoon.
I'm back.
Okay, good.
All right. Perfect timing?
What are the extra? Yeah. I'm just reading the questions. We're looking for trading box.
Chat box?
No, I'm just reading the questions.
Oh.
Angel sent an email too. Let me just read that email really quick.
Right.
He said, "You don't hate markets and why benefits for today 29.97 is not right. I don't know what you're talking about. That doesn't make any sense to me."
Let me scroll up.
That was an email that he sent. In here he said, "We looking for trading box," and that doesn't make any sense to me either. But
yeah, guys, sometimes people do get confused. Our live training room is from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. Eastern, and then from 12 to 2 p.m. plus is our radio show. And so if you come to the radio show looking to see us, trading, you're in the wrong. 9:30 to 11:30, you'll see us with live charts, putting on and taking off trades. Okay? Then on the radio show, we talk about the markets. I go over the Concierge Trade Alerts. Michael goes over what happened in the training room. We have different guests. John joins us most every day. On Tuesdays, David Bradshaw. On Wednesdays, Wayne Jett. Garrett from time to time. And I got my eye on a couple other folks that will become regular wingmen. So, if you're here right now looking to watch us trade, sorry, you're going to have to wait till Tuesday morning, because Monday the markets are closed and there'll be no radio show and no training room. However, the Globex session will open Sunday night, and I will send out the alerts. I don't recommend you trade them. I recommend you spend time with your family, enjoy the day off. But for those hardcore individuals that just can't say no, I'm going to send them out. Okay? And there'll probably be some activity. In fact, on holiday, quote unquote holidays, I've seen some huge moves on light volume. Because if a big fund with deep pockets decides to run the S&P, and there's nobody fighting them on the other side, that thing can sail like nobody's business. I just turned on my new fan. Did you notice additional background noise?
Oops, no, I did not. My mic was off. Sorry.
Okay. All right, good. Let's see. What did Pete put in? So I want to apologize for any misunderstanding, my friend. As with any writings, interpretations sometimes may miss their mark. Okay, guys, the backstory on this is, if you remember yesterday, I thought Pete said that he was pleased with 90% of what I did on the radio. And so I said, well, please email me the 10% you don't like so I can pray about it and see if it's something, I can change. Last night in the workshop, he goes, no. I said 99%. Only Jesus gets 100%. So I told my wife she got a big kick out of it, because I was pacing yesterday afternoon going, well, what am I doing? But I want to throw it out again. I threw it out yesterday. There may be new people here today. There may be parts of this program that you like and parts that you dislike. If you just dislike me in general, well, I'm the founder and main host of the show and the producer, so you're kind of stuck with me, okay? But if you have some constructive criticism about something we could add or take away or do different, we're always open to constructive criticism. Now, we know we can't please all of the people all of the time, and we're not going to try. However, this show is by you, about you, for you, and frankly, we couldn't do it without you. Without you, there'd be no reason to do it. So you can email support@cfrn.net. Michael and I will both get that email. Then he and I will be on the same page, and we can have a conversation. Hey, Joe Blow said he would like to see us do this. What do you think about it? Well, have you prayed about it? Yeah, and this is what God spoke to me. How about you? And then we'll figure out if it fits or doesn't fit. If it doesn't fit for whatever reason, we'll email you back and tell you that after discussion and prayer, we've decided that that's not something we can do or feel we should do. The other hand, we might email back and go, dude, that's a great idea. And we're all for it, and we're going to instigate it as soon as possible, depending upon what it is. You can also put it in the chat box here today. No one sees what you type, except myself, Michael, and if Bert happens to pop in, and he's running the office by himself today, so he probably won't. We're the only ones that hear what you type, okay? Or the only ones that see what you type. I was reading at the same time, don't hear any sound. Oh, that one piece of equipment I needed? I forgot it. Hang on, if you can talk for 1 minute, I'm going to yell and have my assistant bring it up to me.
Sure. I can talk for a minute. Here on the euro, see, I still have the charts. Here on the euro, we're looking for a pullback here. We want to get this green line down below the cycle. Okay, over here on crude, we don't have anything. We've got the wrong kind of divergence here. On the gold, we don't have anything. We got the wrong kind of divergence there. By that I mean we're trading above the BBC and we have bearish divergence above the BBC here and bearish divergence. Over here on the YM, we have a little bit of a pullback happening there, and yeah, that's what we have there. Okay, so that's what we're waiting for. Wayne, are you in here right now? No, Wayne is not in here. Well, one Wayne is, but not the one who just called and left a voicemail.
YouTube app.
I think you just passed it.
Discuss the white candle. Okay. The sun just came out. Yeah, the sun's out here, Pete. Blue skies. And Macy just got home from her last day of school. And yeah, so we got it all going on here too. Joe, EMD has good movement. Why not use it? Because it trades really thin. It's usually got a spread.
Okay, I can now see the chat box on the YouTube channel. So anybody that wants to chat over there, go right ahead. And actually I figured out I can type. I said before I could only answer you verbally, but I can actually type if it's personal. Now, Michael, is it possible for you to grab a list of everyone present right now? Email that over to me, and I'll have Emily randomly select a name. And guys, I'm going to tell you exactly what we're getting ready to give away. Stand by. This morning we gave away a Mexico vacation, and now we're giving away a cruise, a real cruise. This is not a timeshare thing where you got to sit through some kind of uncomfortable sales pitch. There are a few costs, a registration fee, and some taxes, but at the end of the vacation, you will have saved. I mean, it's huge. It's just huge. Now, how are we able to do this? Well, let's just say God has blessed us. And to whom much is given, much is required. All right? Okay. So this is a 2-night Bahama cruise. Let me tell you a little bit about it. You'll get 3 days, 2 nights, round trip cruise getaway, sailing from the port of Palm Beach, Florida, and sailing to the beautiful Grand Bahama Island. What'll happen is when you win it, you're going to get a certificate via email, and it will tell you the website you need to go to enter in your code and get all registered. And then once you register, I think you have up to a year to actually take the cruise. Okay? So did you send that list, Mike?
I did.
You did. Okay, so let me get the list open. And my lovely assistant, who's off for the summer, before summer school starts. Our kids go to summer school just because we want them to be smart, not because they have to go or need to go.
Mine have to go.
Do they?
Well, they don't actually have to go to school, but they have to read 7 books and do reports on them, and they have a big math workbook and a big ELA workbook.
Okay.
Well, at least Jake does.
You've still got the charts, which is good because I can drag this over so Emily can see it. Now, Emily, you see how this is a pretty big list. So, just here, come here. Just Lord, we pray that whoever Emily picks will be a person that needs some rest and relaxation and will really enjoy this time away. So you go over there and you read that list. Go stand by the big screen. And I'm going to scroll down, and when a name jumps out at you, you just read it off. Okay? You don't have to rush. I'll scroll back up again. When somebody jumps out, just call out their name so everybody can hear it.
Ed Lee.
Who? Ed Leal. Okay? Ed Leal, you're the winner. Hey, thank you, sweetheart. Close the door. I'll put a little something extra in your pay envelope this week. And I'll pay you for last night's work, too. Okay. All right. Yeah. Give him a place to live, food to eat. He's doing. No, I had this huge box of charging cords. I was trying to get my Vonage system set up and do some other stuff, and I have this drawer where there's like 100 different charging cords, and they're all tied in knots. And I have all of these pieces of electronic equipment that I don't know where the cord is to plug it in to the wall. So I gave them a job last night. I said, untie this huge knot and then try to find the right cord for the right electronic toy. And they did a pretty good job. So I'm proud of them. They're good kids. Good kids. All right. So let me write down. I'm not going to do it right now and take up radio time. But Ed, if you're in the audience, and it says that you're in the audience, Ed, and I said his whole name on the radio. I shouldn't have done that, but anyway, we'll get better at this. So guys, we had our first commercials on CNBC this week, and God's blessing us, and we're making the world a better place, along with things we already do, like the orphanage and stuff we've done in India and in Mexico. Our property in Mexico, the Mission La Gracia, has become the campus of the first young life in the entire country of Mexico. Some others have now sprung up, but we were the first. We lost our on-site pastor, and we didn't know what we were going to do, because if you leave a place empty, it ain't going to be so pretty when you come back. And these people approached us, and they said, we're pastors of this church, and we've been called or asked to open the first Young Life. Is there any way you would rent us your property here? And we said, how about you use it and take care of it and pay the property taxes, which are like, I don't know, $50 a year, and pay the bank trust fee, which is about $800 a year, and use it for as long as you want. And they're like, you're kidding. And I'm like, no, I'm not kidding. And so they did the happy dance, and they've been taking really good care of the place ever since. So awesome.
That's good.
When we would go down and do the Saturday Soup Kitchen, which is way down this long, dusty dirt road, there was this one little place with a for sale sign on it. And it always called out to me every time I drove by it. About the 50th time I drove by it, I stopped, I wrote down the phone number, called it, and the real estate agent was an American named Patty, who has lived down in Rocky Point for many years. I said, will you come show us the property? She goes, sure. And the next weekend, I'm going to admit it, we smuggled the cash across the border. You're only allowed to move, I think you can carry 10,000 across the border, or maybe it has to be under 10,000. But we smuggled cash. I think, sometimes God will forgive you for little things like that. You're supposed to obey all the laws, but we needed to secure the property. And this was before, the internet was a big deal, and we didn't even know how to do a bank transfer back then. So anyway, We paid cash, and we immediately put the word out that we needed a pastor, and like bang. In fact, we were cleaning it up, just kind of because it was in a bit of disrepair, and this man walked up in a white shirt, and he introduced himself, and he said, "My name's Pastor so-and-so." I said, "How you doing?" And he said, "What are you guys going to do with this place?" I said, "Well, it's going to be a mission to minister to the youth of this neighborhood." He says, "Do you need some help?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Come over here and sit down. Tell me about yourself." So he told me about how he was in drug rehab. He told me about how he... You know what? It's such a long story. I'll tell you guys another time. But something really kind of miraculous happened. Anyway, when he finished the story, I said, "How would you like to be the on-site pastor for Mission La Gracia?" And his eyes lit up. He said, "You mean I can live here?" I go, "Well, there's a church and there's a house." "Yes. You live there and you preach over there." He's like, "Are you joking?" And I'm like, "Here's the keys." He goes, "Oh my God." Got down on his knees in the dirt and began to thank God. So, anyway, just another page. But when I tell you the story behind the story, of when he was in prison and in drug rehab and all the other stuff, it's going to blow your mind. Maybe I'll save that for Monday. Okay. All right, Michael, do you need to run?
Yeah, I kind of do.
All right, buddy. Well, give me a recap of the recap.
Today took 6 minutes and 2 trades to get to 103.75.
Okay, slow talk it.
6 minutes.
Uh-huh.
2 trades.
Uh-huh.
$103.75 per contract.
That's an odd number.
It is. It was. Well, I had 11.
I heard you say that earlier.
It is. It's 11 ticks on the euro and 7 ticks on the YM is what it came out to. So, 11 ticks on the euro is like 68. Now 75, I think.
The day that it took you 12 trades to reach your goal, what'd you do different?
Nothing.
Oh,
actually had a lot more trades that day.
Come on.
And I got my goal at 102.50 that day. Anytime you involve that euro in there with the 6 1/4
what does that thing pay now that they whacked it? It's 6 1/4 per tick.
6 1/4 per tick.
So how many ticks do you actually need to reach
16.
your goal?
16. If you were doing just the euro, it would be 16.
Okay. Because when I was in a mentoring session with someone yesterday, we were talking about the different markets. I said, and they go, "Dwayne, what market do you suggest that I trade?" I said, "Well, I hate to be the one to tell you which market, but I will tell you this. Everybody wants to take 2 points out of the S&P. But it seems like the S&P has a really hard time going 8 ticks in a straight line. 6, yes. 7, yes. But there's and he goes, "Why do you think that is?" And I go, "Oh, that's simple. Because everybody wants to take 2 points out of the S&P, and as soon as they get some green on their screen, they get 5, 6, 7 ticks, they all start bailing. And so that pushes the market down." He goes, "That makes perfect sense." And I said, I was really hard-headed when I first started. It was like, if I can't have my 8 ticks, I don't want nothing. Well, I changed my way of thinking over time. And if the market wants to give me 6, I'll take 6. And then I'll come back in and get another 6, or whatever the market is willing to give me. I said, here's the thing. The S&P seems to have trouble running the 8 ticks in one move. I said, with the Dow, it has to move 20 points in order for you to hit your daily goal. And I said, the euro, I don't know how many that takes, but now I know it's 16. I said, and the NASDAQ, while many people like the NASDAQ, it only requires 5 points to reach your daily goal, but that 5 points is actually 20 ticks. So I said, I kind of like crude and gold because it's 10 ticks, and they don't seem to have a problem running 10 ticks in one move. Not that we expect to reach our daily goal in one trade every day. I go, that I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that there is the possibility with those markets. The other markets just know, coming in that you're probably going to have to take a couple, maybe 3, 4, however many trades it takes, as long as you average 10 trades or less and get your goal. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
The average swing in the S&P for the uninitiated is 3 to 5 points. Okay? So do the math. It's probably going to take you at least 2 trades in the S&P to reach your daily goal. But that's no big deal because you got 10 if you're following the blueprint. Oh, and something, I think I started a statement earlier and I didn't finish it, but I was saying that the blueprint will not give you the green light to go live until you've put together those 10 days in a row. And don't fib to us about that, because it's so important to your success. And then when you get the green light to go live, it's one contract. Yeah, man, I got 50 grand in my trading account. I don't care if you got 500 grand. Follow the rules, okay? Do the right thing. Go live with one contract. Increase your account balance by $2,000 at the rate of $100 gross per day. Oh, man. Are you kidding me? No, I'm not. You hired me to teach you how to trade. That means a lot of things. I got to teach you strategy. I got to teach you mechanics. Someday I'll be the shoulder you cry on. Some days I'll be your confidant. Some days I'll be your drill sergeant. Drop and give me 20. I mean, I will be whoever you need me to be on any given day. Because for the first 10 minutes, I'm going to let you talk. And no matter what your lips say, I'm going to hear where you're really at. And then I'm going to try to help you in that area and be the person that you need that day. And when you become a partner, you get unlimited, as needed, one-on-one personal mentoring. Now, if I detect after a couple weeks that you're trying to make me become a trader for you, I'll put the kibosh on that real quick. You're not doing your homework. What I told you to do last time we met, you haven't done, and now you're back here asking for more help. What good does it do you for me to give you advice if you're not going to then take the advice and follow the instructions I give you? Oh, you don't have to be all snippy. No, I'm not being snippy. I'm showing you love. I want you to succeed. That drill sergeant that's in your face, he's the guy that keeps you from getting your head blown off when you're jumping from foxhole to foxhole. So, Bert's a Marine. He could speak to that. I was a Navy guy. I never saw, the only action I saw was on Liberty. Michael, you were in peacetime Air Force, right?
No, I was in Desert Storm.
Oh, you were in Desert Storm. Okay, so you actually saw some combat.
Yeah, I was there for six months.
Now, see, I got no benefits because of a number of reasons. One, it was peacetime, no war, blah, blah, blah. Did you walk away with any good benefits?
Yeah. In Connecticut, if I go to school full time, if I go to a state school, they'll pay for it. They'll pay the tuition.
Nice.
Yeah, that was the main benefit. I'm sure there's probably other ones I don't know about.
You probably get the VA loan too, or do they not do that anymore?
I have no idea.
Where they guarantee, they don't loan you the money to buy a home, but they guarantee the loan. I got to tell you about this. This is huge, and you might want to talk to your kids about this. Apple released, there was a news release yesterday. Swift is a programming language. You start out by reading the iBook. I think there's a couple of them for free. Then you get the software development kit for free. Then you get the playgrounds, which is also the sandbox. so that the apps and different things that you build with this Swift code, you can play around with them and test them and make sure that they really work before you deploy them, right? They give you everything you need. Once you complete the course and pass the test, guess what happens next?
They give you a job.
They guarantee you a job starting at $100,000 a year. I'm going to do the course. I'm not going to stop trading. I'm not going to stop teaching, but I've always wanted to learn how to write code, and I may never take a job as a coder, but I can at least say, I mean, that's on my bucket list, learn how to code. So me and my son are going to do it together because he wants to create video games. I mean, he's got journals and books where he's written, he's developed the characters and the plots and, what the different buttons do, but he doesn't know how to write code. But this weekend, we start reading the first book. So any of you out there, you're looking for that multiple income stream I'm always talking about? I mean, in the history of mankind, there's so many people out there today, doctors, lawyers, all kinds of people, who are saddled with so much student debt. It's going to take them years, decades maybe, to earn their way out of that hole. Free education and the guarantee of a job. But I told my son, I says, we got to jump on this now because the world's going to go crazy. And we want to be some of the first ones that graduate and get certified. So, can you imagine my son at 17? I was flipping burgers at 17. He could be making $100,000 a year at 17.
Yeah,
I'm blown
awesome.
away. I'm absolutely blown away. In the Bible, it says, in the last days, information will flow to and fro like never before. So, I'm not saying this is the end. I'm just saying it's another sign that we could be getting close. So, all right, let me go to the chat box. Was there anything unanswered? Anything I missed? Anything directed at me? Yes, John.
Swift.
J, you are correct. My wife is very good. What are the extra cost of the zones? The weekly trading zones are included when you become a partner. The mentoring program. Now, here's the deal. You're not paying for the zones. You're paying for all the other stuff I talked about. The zones Michael and I give you every Monday morning as a gift to remind you that we appreciate that of all the places you could have went to get an education, you chose us. And so every Monday morning we remind you by giving you the zones that do crazy stuff like this. Here's Crude for the week. Let me just back up to Sunday real quick. Sunday night Globex Open. We open right in a zone and we stay in that zone like forever. And then we go to the zone below. Then we go to the zone above. And then we go to the zone above. And then we come down to the zone below. Remember, zones are an area. We go back up to the zone. We go back down to the zone. We go back up to the zone, down to the zone, back up to the... In this candle, we went down to the zone and back up to the zone in 30 minutes. Crazy. Now, was that during inventories? No, that was at 4:30 a.m. on the 25th. Now, 50, what is it, 50? Is that 50? Why does that say 50-60? No, that can't be right. The zone's 50. The zone is 50-45 to 50-50. I'm having a hard time reading it. There. 50-45 to 50-50. So 50 up to the next zone, which is 51.10. That's 60 ticks. That's $600 per contract. 600 down, 600 back up in 30 minutes. Now, I'm not saying you got it or anybody got it. I'm just saying that's what was available. And then it puts in a doji and does the 600 trip back down. Turns right around, does the $600 trip back up. Turns around and does the $600 trip back down. And then it drops down to the next zone. And then it drops down to the next zone. Not exactly to the tick. Overshoots it just a little bit. And now, bang, we just hit the zone here. Is this the lowest weekly trading zone? Some might wonder. That's a negatory, good buddy. The lowest weekly zone is 47.80. Oh, I forgot to tell you, Michael, I know you don't always read everything I write. I'm working with Ticketmaster to handle the sale of our tickets.
Okay.
We will be teaching people how to do the weekly trading zones. Tickets are $10,000 each, and only 1,000 tickets will be sold. Once 500 tickets are sold, it will be announced where and when the event will take place. It will be a 3-day weekend, so it's going to be around a federal holiday, and it's going to be a trade-a-palooza, and I'm looking at some really pretty well-known entertainment. So it'll be like a music festival. It'll be sort of like our version of Burning Man, except we won't be, you know, all drunk and falling down and stuff like that. In fact, I'm going to ask people like Mark Driscoll to come and speak, maybe Matt Chandler. So I put that in the blog the other night. I didn't make a big hullabaloo about it, but I'm working with Ticketmaster right now to negotiate a deal, because at that price, their cut is pretty sizable, so I'm trying to negotiate it down. So I thought I should bring you up to speed, since you are half the company. It's probably going to be about a year, guys, before the event takes place. And I won't announce the date or the place until 500 tickets have been sold. Now, that includes your airfare and accommodations. Probably it's going to be outdoors, and so we'll have like an army of tents, or we'll have some motorhomes brought in, or maybe we can do it close enough to a Motel 6. But airfare, accommodation, all meals will be catered. I mean, some people charge $7,000 for a seminar in Vegas. We're going to do it up big time. $10,000 a ticket. Only 1,000 tickets will be available. Okay, and as soon as the deal is sealed with Ticketmaster, I will publish that information for you. Because everybody wants to know, how does he do those zones? Well, you're going to find out if you really want to know. Now, if, for instance, you had sold off this doji, if you had gone short at this zone, that zone is 5110. And if you wrote it down to this zone, help me with the math, Mike. All right, I got my calculator.
5110 down to 4860, we'll say, right? 5110.
5110 to 4860. How many
there's
tickets is that?
50, 100, 250.
Okay, so that's $2,500 per contract.
Yes.
So a 5-contract trader would cover the entire expense of the seminar, and they would have a tool that they can apply to any market, any futures market, even the stock market, for the rest of their life. So when you look at it through that lens, it's a bargain, man. It's an absolute bargain. So, and we're going to do, I'm telling you, it's going to be top notch. We're going to, the catered, we're going to have the chefs with the hats. You know, what kind of omelet do you want, sir? That kind of deal. All right. So, anyway, I'm excited. Life's good. Business is good. We just gave away a vacation to Mexico, a cruise, got commercials on CNBC, and God's grinning because he says, I got people that are doing what I call them to do. That makes him so happy. Michael, I love you, man. Have a great weekend. I'm sure we'll chit-chat back and forth.
Yes, I'm sure we will. All right, you have a great weekend too.
Because with that other thing, did you work on that 30-second script? Please give it some thought over the afternoon.
Yeah, I'll give it some thought.
Because I'd like to roll that out. You know, with a holiday weekend, Monday might not be a bad day because we could both be answering the phone. So just think about it. But we need the they call it an elevator pitch, 30 seconds. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, buddy.
Yep.
Take care.
Okay.
John, I think I hear you in the background.
Yeah, I'm here. How are you doing?
Welcome to the show. If you can get just a little closer to the mic.
Yeah, sure.
Oh,
thanks.
Much better. Much better. Now, I have not had a chance to read the news this morning, so if there's anything that I should know, that you know, please tell me. And the audience.
Well, there's nothing really big going on today, other than Trump sort of got, in following up on what we talked about yesterday, kind of needled Germany a bit, because effectively what's going on is the five nations. He doesn't, he talks about the U.S., but it's really the 5 nations that are paying their way in NATO at the expense of everybody else, including Germany, which is, for the size of its economy, would be the biggest contributor by far, or certainly not necessarily by far because of France, but certainly a big contributor, major contributor. And, Trump made an interesting point that if everybody had played by the rules, they'd have 113 billion extra today. And more, but he said, he's not too happy about the deficit with Germany, which is, upwards of 150 billion, 130 billion or something, and which is huge. And also the fact that they're selling all these Mercedes and BMWs to the American consumers, and getting a free ride on NATO. And I think that this is going to get sorted out. It's kind of
I was surprised to hear the list they read. It was a pretty short list of some small countries you don't even hear of very often. They're paying their dues on time, just like they're supposed to.
Yeah.
Do you remember any of those other names?
Well, I think that and actually, there's a thing. I'll send an email over.
Now, I'm talking about the people that are actually paying what they're supposed to be paying.
There's Poland is one of them, I think.
Yep,
and a couple
you're
of
right.
These some of these new countries, and interestingly enough, why would they be paying? Because they're worried about Russia, among other things. So that's. But look, they got to sort this thing out. It's not a game. It's a very serious thing, and everybody should be paying to the penny. Everybody should pay their share. I mean, basically, the U.S. has been subsidizing, NATO and the United Nations for decades, and it's crazy. Especially with the waste of money that goes on with the United Nations, and all this foreign aid that gets shoveled around the world and ends up in people's pockets. Trump has got a big point. It's time for change. Amen. The country's got to be run properly. Look, they just came out with the first potentially balanced budget in more than 10 years. And they've been spending. Look at Obama spent this into oblivion.
Oh my
got
goodness.
$20 trillion in debt. So it's time. They've got to run the country like a business, and everybody's the same. Look, everybody in the country should be documented and should be. They should know who everybody is. So I think that's going to get done in time. And we need it. And look, it's, as I said yesterday, look, whether it's a 500,000 man force or a million force, we need a lot of intel. You can't get satellite. Satellite intel is great and all that, but look, most of these guys are getting wise to being tapped or even being monitored on the internet. They're finding ways around it, so that's virtually useless. You got to have intelligence on the ground. They've got to infiltrate everywhere in the world. It's a dangerous game. It's a real James Bond deal, but they've got to do it because they've got to have the intel. I mean, listen, this is the biggest problem on the face of the earth right now. This scourge that thanks to Obama and the blood on his hands and Hillary, has unleashed this terrible scourge across the world. And the problem is that the savagery of it all has just gotten worse and worse because these people are just terrible. Look at these poor people again today, these Coptic Christians. Another 21 people killed. More blood on Obama's
God, I hadn't even heard about that.
Yeah, more blood on Obama's hands today. And Trump should, he should really listen. What has he got to lose? He should be blaming Obama every single day for and he should be blaming Hillary. He should be ramming the point home. He's got the power to get the message out, the real story out. And you heard this news about now they're apparently this biggest story of all, which is the surveillance, sort of broke last night in the last few days, and of course it didn't get any coverage in the New York Times, the Washington Post, and some of these other networks, but it was on Fox, and it's a huge deal. I mean, Obama got reprimanded pretty sharply for this. This has been going on for years, and they've been basically abusing the system literally for the whole of this administration, for the whole of his time in office. It's an absolute disgrace. It really is. And of course, everybody just, it's just like whistling past the graveyard. Nobody cares. But it's huge. I mean, it's this surveillance of Trump. I mean, now we know it's true, but is there an outrage about it? There's nothing. Nobody's doing anything about it. It's incredible. They beat up on Trump when he announced these tweets. Do you think he really put those tweets out without knowing for sure that he was right? He's been proven
ask that question again.
About the surveillance in Trump Tower. I mean, the Obamas they're up to their eyeballs in it. That's what I said months ago. They're up to their eyeballs in it. They're in it. It's sickening. It's rotten to the core. They've been doing all kinds of stuff in the last few years. You can't even imagine. And hopefully it'll all come out. And there'll be consequences. They've been breaking the law. They've been breaking the law all over the map. I mean, it's just a disgrace. And then you got this deep space and all these cronies and horrible people running these institutions that shouldn't be running them. I mean, just absolutely deadbeats, who haven't got a brain between their ears. I mean, it's just, you can't even imagine. You can't make this stuff up. It's just incredible. It's just absolutely amazing. And they're blabbering out and telling all kinds of lies on TV. The lies that people tell on TV these days, just unbelievable. It's incredible.
I don't know, man.
What's
now? ISIS. They just hit some new place yesterday. Where was it?
Well, I heard about the Coptic Christians in Egypt.
No,
they ambushed.
Where was it? Did somebody in the audience? Didn't ISIS hit some place that they've not hit before?
Anyhow, just going to the markets for a minute because it's kind of important. Remember I said yesterday in closing, I said watch for the gold and silver to present a buying opportunity between 8 and 9 p.m. Eastern. Unfortunately, because of these storms we had a power outage last night, so I wasn't able to put out an alert exactly at the right point when I wanted to. But the turn came just going into the 9 o'clock hour. It was a little bit late, but it turned around 9 o'clock. And look at where we are today. I mean, this is great. The silver is working its way higher. We're on our way back up to 18. The gold just made a new high a minute ago. Now we've got to be a little bit careful because the silver has been leading up until now, and it didn't. The gold just made a new high, and the silver didn't. So we have to be a little bit careful. Did extremely well on palladium. The palladium, remember they whacked it down dramatically. It got really slaughtered, and we actually went in, took a shot at it, and picked the bottom, and it has rallied dramatically off the lows, right off the lows. We had a bit of a jerking around, which we traded. We traded in and out of palladium almost to a T, and it's a very hard thing to trade. I'm scared to trade it most of the time because if you're wrong, you can lose money pretty fast. But we've been able to pick almost every turning point, and we've done the same in the gold. We got a pre-hour buy thing. I said, look, might be wise to go flat overnight, but get long in the pre-dawn hour, in the opening hours if you can. That's what we did. So the Nugget and the J Nug came in higher this morning. They've gapped higher. It looks to me like, if we can gap higher after Memorial Day in the metals, I think we're going to have a big run. If we gap higher and hold that gap, and it really starts to move, I think we could have a great run up towards. Look, we're heading up to 1275. If we get past 1275, it's going to be a very, I think we'll see 1290 pretty quick. And usually what happens is we run up to 1290, hang around. Sometimes we retest the 1275, and then we go through 1300. We break 1300. It's going to be epic. And that's why I wrote this report a few days ago, because after the Fed came out and the reaction.
Is that report available to the public?
It is, yeah.
Because if you send it to me, I'll post it on the blog.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, just we've added some things to it. Actually, there was a report came out this morning from O'Byrne in Dublin, a gold core guy, and fellow I'd actually spoken to. He's a guy called Uncommon Wisdom from another guy that I know who runs that outfit. I can't trying to think of his name. Out of Florida. Anyway, he wrote an interesting report that the silver has been in a sort of, he calls it a stealth bull market or a secret bull market, and the silver's been moving up faster, which is one of the reasons we got the confidence to feel that this was a real bull market. And remember we talked about the platinum and how it was kind of dogged by selling. Well, the platinum has started to break out. I think it's got a real shot now, going back over 1,000. So all of these metals are in a kind of a buy dip scenario right now, or just be long. And but here's the interesting thing. One of the reasons when you start to see the silver get ahead of the gold, what it means is the professionals in the old days, when the floor traders were more active, there was a lot more of them. They used to put on a gold-silver spread, a silver-gold spread, like, when they buy silver, they go long silver and short gold. So this guy put a chart out on this thing this morning, and it shows how gold really hasn't moved that much up until perhaps today, and the silver has been leading the markets higher. So that kind of tells you that something pretty big is going on under the surface here. And then, with the Bitcoin explosion and also this Ethereum going up the way it has, now some people are saying there's going to be a correction in the Bitcoin, and after all, it's had a pretty meteoric rise, and so has the Ethereum. So I'd be a little bit careful at this point. But what could happen is you could get a correction in the Bitcoin and the Ethereum, and because right now gold has got to be attractive to anybody who's had a run in those.
Do you think Bitcoin is a buy on a dip?
Based on what happened before, but I'd be kind of careful with this thing because it's gone a bit parabolic, and when stuff goes parabolic, it can come back. So I think you got to be very, very careful right now with this, because if there is a correction, if there is, there could be a kind of a what do you call it, arbitrage, where this happened before. The last time when Bitcoin ran up above 1,000 or up into the low teens, they whacked it down, and that's when gold took off. So the people probably made a ton of money on the Bitcoin. And look, if everybody starts selling this Bitcoin at the same time, it's probably not that, it could come back pretty sharply. So they're saying that it could pull back about 38%, maybe 30, something like that. That might be a point to re-enter. But right now, I think the interesting place to be is the gold. I mean, I've been saying that look at Royal Gold. There's something really major going on with Royal Gold. It's leading the market higher. It's making we mentioned this several months ago that Royal Gold looked like it was going to break out to the upside, and it's acting fantastic. Just hit 81, and look, it's either going to get taken over or something, or they're going to announce something big, or they're just doing great. And obviously, the higher the gold price goes, the better it is for Royal Gold, because it's kind of a royalty company. So, Royal Gold looks monstrous, and it's not that far from all-time record highs, which, considering the price of gold, is a remarkable, for a gold stock to be that high. And it's obviously, again, these gold stocks, they're leading indicators. They go up in anticipation of higher prices a lot of times before the price even moves. And if you remember, when this rally kicked off in the nugget, it gapped up, several days in a row before the gold itself took off. That's extremely bullish when that happens. It's kind of rare. It's almost never happened before. And also when you get these sort of gaps, several multi-day gaps, and then you get a bit of a pullback, and then you start the next wave, which we're currently on, the next part of it could be an acceleration to the upside. So, and it could accelerate a lot. I mean, look, I know there's nothing going on with North Korea at the moment militarily, as far as, it's kind of quieting down a bit. But if something happened, and, we're sitting having a great Memorial Day weekend, and all of a sudden all hell breaks out in the Far East, something goes wrong, we could be in World War III on Tuesday morning, I mean, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it just feels like there's something out there that's coming. The market has a way of sensing these things ahead of time. I mean, remember, before 9/11, we went down for pretty much 9 months in a row right before that event. So the market has a way of sensing these things way before time, and don't forget that there was a war of words between Saudi Arabia and Iran the other day that almost went, they were talking about taking out all the cities in Saudi except Medina and Mecca. I mean, that's so. And what happens if, somebody, the Yemenis threw in a missile the other day into Saudi Arabia, which actually got shot down? What if one of those missiles actually hits? One of these days it might. So,
I'm afraid this guy is going to stub his toe and blow up the world.
Well,
I mean, the guy can't even find his way to a good barber. I mean, we really have a bad situation here,
Yeah. Well, look, you never know. He might look. Remember when they sunk that ship? And they never really paid a penalty for that. I mean, they sunk that South Korean naval vessel. I mean,
if you need to grab that, you can go ahead, and I'll wait for you.
Sorry. Yeah. If he did something like that, that would be a big deal. That could because I mean, Trump can't back down if something like that happens. He's going to have to take serious action. I mean, it's all or nothing. There's no way out with this Korean thing. It's either all or nothing. Because if it starts, they've got to be really. I mean, they got to move so fast to take out all of their armaments. It would. The first afternoon, half the war could be over if they do it right. They have to, because the consequences are diabolical if that happens.
A comment from Pete in the audience, John. The last administration assumed the Clintons would be in control and all would be fine with their corrupt activities. Thanks to the American people, at least those with some common sense, have saved the day. I love this country.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what he said.
That's for sure. I'll second that. I'll second that all day long. Thank God. Thank God. Yeah. Yeah. So, by the way, Nvidia is back on a buy. It's been acting really well. We picked a few highs yesterday. We actually picked a high pretty much on Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Facebook, a few other stocks. We've got a buy on Twitter at the moment. I think it's probably worth holding long over the weekend. There might be a bit of a surprise next week on Twitter. But everything else looks like we seem to be gearing up for a bit of a correction here, a bit of a pullback, and maybe there's a bit of nervousness, because the gold is moving up. So I would be, you never know, something could happen this weekend, and we could be in a bit of a sell-off next week. The way the market's kind of shaping up right now.
Okay, what is it in particular about the market?
It's just, well, if you look at the daily, Facebook. Look, sometimes when you get a run up, we're not confirming a new high on Facebook just yet, right? Okay. If we're on a kind of a possible reversal here today. The last time we had one of these sort of red days, we went down quite a bit. We've got a little double top developing on Amazon. That's a really deadly kind of a formation. I don't like those at all. They can be very sneaky. And to give you an idea how powerful they are, we had a similar double bottom, both at 740 on Amazon and about 750. And here we are at almost under 1,000. So, buys like this can be very, very, very powerful, and sells can lead to things. So, I think there's probably a few people who just probably don't want to go long over the weekend now. So we could come in and gap higher on Tuesday morning, as well. But I think if I was a fund manager, I'd probably be lightening up here this weekend, or I'd want to have some insurance on something going wrong, because when the gold is going up like this, something out there is this is kind of a big deal that's going on. We've had a pretty big move.
In which market?
Well, I think the metals just going up are keeping the market, keeping a lid on the market right now. Now, normally we rally into Memorial Day, and we did rally yesterday, but we're not really rallying today. We're kind of stuck sideways, which is okay. It could be just a consolidation. But and another thing is when the leaders start backing off. Look at Amazon; it's kind of selling off as we speak. Here, it's only a small bit, but it is selling off. Now it's a kind of a three-wave pullback, right? So if we come in, next week and we gap higher on our Amazon, that could be, that could take us through 1,000. So that's my take on things right now.
All right. Well, I want to bring up the gold chart. I want to take a look at that with you right now. I got distracted for just a second because something going on here. Doggone it! You can't see my chart, can you?
No. But you see the way,
Crap.
See what I've been saying.
We gotta
Okay,
fix
look,
this.
we made it. We made the bottom in December, right?
Yeah.
And we made that bottom when the Fed announced, the day the Fed announced that they were going to raise rates the second time was the exact low. That's the day that.
Okay. Are you talking gold right now or S&P?
No, I'm talking gold.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to go to a gold chart, and I'm going to put it on continuous, so that we can go back and see exactly what you're talking about. At GCM. Wait a minute. At GG. Oh boy. Gosh. Gold. There we go. Okay, got a continuous chart of gold coming up let me get it on a daily. Okay, now tell me the important date that I should look at.
Okay, December 15th was the day the Fed announced that they were going to raise rates.
Okay,
The
so I can
second
open
time.
this up a little
Okay,
bit.
and we said on this show that very day, I believe, we said the second rate hike is a buy signal on gold. Okay,
And
first rate hike is when they knock it down.
that's pretty awesome.
Second rate hike is a buy signal. Right, exactly. Then guess what? A few days ago, they said they're going to raise rates again.
Oh,
They actually
really?
said they're going to raise rates in June. Yeah.
Okay.
And look what happened to the market.
Oh, when the
since then.
minutes came out, they
Right?
said that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
I didn't
So-
read the minutes, so
and-
I didn't know.
Yeah, and what it looks like to me is you had a wave one, you had an impulse wave one. Remember, look, in the larger scheme of things, we had a massive bottom at 1250 or 1245, sorry, 1045 at the end of 2015. And in spite of a stronger dollar, the market rallied all the way from 1050 up to nearly 1400, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then it had this very big pullback, and then which was basically a retest of, and so we know about the first bottom. So this is really the important bottom now. What I believe is going on here is we have a series of 1-2s. You see that first wave up to the middle of January, and then it pulled back into just before February. Then we had a couple of more up waves, and then we had a big second wave, right, into middle of March, and then we had the March 15 bottom. Remember that? Okay, and which I think was on some Fed minutes again that day, and then we ran up and made this new high. But in the larger scheme of things, the way it looks to me is we've got a triple 1-2. We had a first 1-2, second or little mini 1-2, third, maybe even 4 1-2s. And now we appear to be in a kind of a third wave. And if we get a gap after today, and we suddenly are going through at 1280 or 90, I mean, this thing is going to go vertical out of here. That's what I've been saying on the show since the low at around 1220.
Okay, now, John, I have a significant high up at, obviously you have the same thing. That last spike high was 1337.90. Now, on the daily, I also did some fib extensions, and I've got a 62% fib extension that comes in at 1317, and that spike high was 1338. And so from where we sit now at 1267, even if a trader were to just go up to the 50% fib retracement, which is the most recent swing high, that would be basically $1,300, $1,298. But again, sellers are going to come in early because they've only got to risk a few points to see if they can drive it down again. So let's say you got long at 69 and you rode that thing up to 90. Let's say you got in at 70. Let's be conservative. Let's be super conservative. Let's go 81 to 91. That's 10 points. That is $1,000 per contract. And if you're a 10 contract trader, that just paid for your ticket to the Trade-A-Palooza. So now, not that there isn't plenty of other activity and action and possibilities. The 100% fib retracement is way up at $1,383, closing in on $1,400. Now, this spike that happened on November 9th, that wasn't election day, was it? John? John? Okay.
Hello, sorry about that.
Okay, I was getting ready to call you. I thought I had lost you. Okay, the spike high that we have on November 9th, That's not election. November 9th wasn't election day, right?
Yeah, no, November 8th.
Okay, so on November 9th, we've got that huge spike in gold that ran all the way up to a high of 1338.30. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so now let me ask you a question. Price had built a nice leg up to 1309, and then it did a little pullback, nice healthy pullback, and then on the election news it rocketed, it spiked all the way up to that price I just gave you, but then it closed the day basically right where it opened. And then the sell-off began. So when you see something like that, do you give credence to that spike, or do you consider it an outlier and just take it out of the equation? No.
Spikes like that are very powerful. You know, they're huge.
Well, I know you can make money while it's spiking, but I mean, then here we are months later looking at the big picture.
Look at the oil. The oil gave a buy signal yesterday at around 48.5.
All right.
It kind of spiked down in a double test, and look at it now. It's moving higher going into the weekend.
Yeah, so, we had a weekly trading zone, John, and I sent them to you on Monday morning, 48.55/48.60. That's why I wish you could see my screens right now, because Crude has behaved...
I'll get that sorted out next week.
Crude has behaved like... it's like a choreographed dance act or play or symphony, the way Crude has respected these zones. I mean, just zone to zone to zone all week long. It's just been a thing of beauty. You know, you could hang it at a museum, stick in a frame and hang it. Most people wouldn't understand it, but a guy like you, I can't capture all of it in one picture, but I can make a 2-minute video and email it to you. That's what I'll do after the show.
Okay, great. The weird thing is today we've got major divergence going on with the grains. The beans have been hit down quite sharply, and the wheat and corn and the oats are all up today. So when you see that, you need to get your antenna up, because if we do get a reversal in the beans next week, and we take back what we lost. You're making money on that today, I would assume.
Oh, right? My goodness! Yeah, I got to pull up the. I got to pull up the page that has the email I sent out to all the subscribers last night. And for those of you that aren't receiving these alerts, you can receive them for 5 consecutive trading days for $1. Not only will you receive the alerts, but you'll also have access to the live training room if you want it for a week. And you'll be able to you'll watch 2 training videos that I send you. And you get to spend 45 minutes with me in a one-on-one mentoring session in a live go-to meeting room where I answer all of your questions after you've traded in Sim, watched the training videos. Of course, you'll still have questions, and I will answer them all for you. Okay? Now, June 1st, the price goes up. So if you have any thoughts that you might want to become a Concierge Trade Alert client, call it sales pitch, call it whatever you want. The price goes up June 1st. But those who are already clients, I gave you a price lock. And anyone that becomes a Concierge client prior to June 1st, I'm going to give you a price lock too, which means you'll never pay more for the life of my life or yours, whichever ends first. So let me go to campaigns. Let me go to last night. Let me open up the email. And as far as the quarterly rate goes, my goodness, you can make that back, some days in one trade. But no promises. I have no control over what the markets do. Last night, we sent the alerts out early because we had the workshop. I sent them out at 7 p.m. Eastern, so that's 1900 hours. That's going to be right. Oh, that's right. They don't open until 2000. So, but you got the email at 1900. So I'm going to put the vertical line there at 2000. And on soybeans, our suggestion was to consider being a seller at 935. And I'm going to draw the line at 935.
Right on the lows right now.
And
Right now.
one more tick. 935. Okay. Now the swing low so far is 828 and a quarter. So I'm just going to round that up.
920.
I'm sorry, 929 and 928 and a quarter. I'm going to round it up to 929. So 35 minus 29, that's 6 points at $50 per point. So that's $300 per contract available. $300 per contract available. Now, we never get out at the swing high or swing low, because either A, we're trading to a hard target, or B, we're trailing our stop, which means at some point the market is going to pull back, do a retracement, and we're going to get stopped out with profits. It just depends upon how closely you're trailing the market. Okay? Now, can you use the CFRN indicators to assist you? If you get what I call a runner, in other words, an extended move, I'm going to show you right now, all of you that can see my screens, as soon as the indicators load. This is not what the indicators were originally created for, but once I figured out that you could use them. Now, if you're using the indicators, you would still be in the trade 100%. Because in order for the indicators to tell you to exit, this step line has to get on the north side of the MA1, and then you have to have a green candle close above the step line. Okay? Now, you're always going to leave something on the table. You got to get over that. All right? Just consider, leaving something for the next guy, call it good karma, whatever you're still going to walk with a nice healthy profit, okay? But you'll know exactly to the tick, because the market has started to move against you. When the indicators tell you to exit at exactly this price, you got to go. Because now there will be rare occasions when that deeper pullback turns into just another leg down. Hey, don't take it personal. It's called the truth about trading. So, thanks for bringing it to my attention, John, and all of you that are in that soybean trade. Now remember, if it continues to drop, we got a rule of thumb. Anytime you make $1,000 per contract in one instrument in one day, consider taking the money and putting the mouse away. Now, let's say this were to continue down, and when we hit the $1,000 mark, if we were to hit the $1,000 mark, if the indicators were like this, there would be no reason to get out with the 1,000, because as long as the indicators are like this, price is going to continue to fall. Okay? So, I mean, that would just be like somebody trying to hand you, some money, and you walk away from it.
You walk away.
Don't do that. You still there, John? All right.
I'm here.
Yeah, we seem to have lost your connection. I've got you on speaker, so I don't know how well folks can hear you, but did you have any closing comments as we head into the holiday weekend?
Yeah, no, just a great weekend to everybody. I'll come back on in a second. Hang on a second, okay?
Okay. All right, guys, so we already know the deal on soybeans. Let's go to our good word for
Right.
You there?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Let me go to gold on the 30-minute chart. Last night, the alerts went out at 1900.
Just want to wish everybody a great weekend. And,
Thank you, sir.
Right now, yeah, seem to be pushing higher here late in the day on the gold and silver, so that's great.
Last night, our alert on gold was to consider buying 1260. And so, if you took action at 1260, which is right there, 1260, the swing high. Well, we're going to go with this swing high because see this pullback here, guys? If you're trailing closely like I teach you,
right now.
you're going to get taken out.
I'm trying to stick with this one.
1268. Is that what it says? 1268. So this was an $800 per contract move.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you walked away with $800. It means that the market put $800 in front of you, and you were trailing your stop. And so maybe you got stopped out with 700, maybe you got stopped out with 600, even if you got stopped with 500. What a great day, especially if you're a 10 contract trader.
Yeah. On the stuff I'm testing out, we actually got in around 1255.
Okay.
And we're still long. We traded in and out a little bit on the choppiness this morning, all profitably, and we are long right price across the board right now. We did a huge job on palladium and platinum actually today, and the silver. So everything we're across the board long, probably cumulatively about $5,000, based on cumulatively $5,000 on about a single contract basis, including the copper, which
Congrats.
we were both long and short of. Yeah.
Congrats.
So it's coming together very well, and really delighted with the progress so far.
I do wish you could figure out a way to text me, because I have a large following on Twitter, and when you see some really nice trades sitting up as you're getting your system, going, if you could send them to me or get my attention somehow, I guess you could call me. I will tweet them out. I will tweet them out to the audience and say, per John, consider buying blah 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 or selling blah blah blah, whatever the case might be.
Great.
And so that way, because see, when I started the Concierge Trade Alerts, I did a 3-year public beta test, and all that information is still out there on Twitter today. Anybody that wants to, just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, it's all there. We did it on Twitter, we did it on Stock Twits, and we did it on Seeking Alpha. The reason we didn't do it on our own site is because if we did it on our own site, people, of course, somebody's going to go, oh, well, you're monkeying with the timestamp. Well, on Twitter, you can't monkey with the timestamp, or Stock Twits, or Seeking Alpha. So, I just didn't want to put myself in that position where somebody points a finger and says you're not playing fair. I play fair.
Okie doke. Well, listen, once again, a great weekend. We got the FA Cup in England this weekend, and Manchester United pulled off a fantastic win yesterday, first win in quite a while. Won the European Cup and the Grand Prix of Monaco this weekend as well, and the Indy 500. So it's definitely going to be a good weekend from a sports standpoint.
Awesome.
Okie doke.
John,
all right, thanks.
Have a wonderful weekend. Give my best to all your family. And if you want to call me over the weekend, feel free.
Yeah, no, absolutely, because I'd like to follow up on those machines with you.
Okay. All right. And we are officially closed. Now, Sunday night, I will send out Concierge Trade Alerts. And commodities will trade Monday up until about 1 o'clock Eastern. The New York Stock Exchange will be closed. I encourage everybody to just take time off, be with your family. But for those hardcore guys, I still send out the alerts on these holidays on Sunday night. And of course I'll send out alerts Monday night. But our next training room and regular show after today will be next Tuesday.
Okay. Great.
All right?
Alrighty.
Okay, I'll talk to you over the weekend.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Man, I just got some good news. Hang on one second. Gotta send Michael a quick text message. Where to? By the way, we just built another house. And so I'm telling him, I'm giving him instructions for getting the money there. Just give me 1 second, and you'll have my undivided attention, I promise. Yeah, I know. This is when I need an assistant sitting next to me that starts talking and cracking wise, and that's coming. One more second. Second. Okay. I'm sorry, but that's because as soon as we can get that money deposited in the account, these boys go to work. Builders for the master. Plus, I will email Coney, and I will get you copied in on the email link. Alright, I'm done doing business. I'm putting my phone away. You and I are going to go to our good word for the day. And take it from there. Then we'll do the Concierge Trade Alerts. Let me mention again, if you didn't hear it at the beginning of the show, I want everybody in this audience that wants to take advantage of this to take advantage of this. There's a programming language called Swift. Apple will provide you with all of the materials that you need. The book, the software development kit, the sandbox, everything. For free. F-R-E-E. Once you complete the course and pass the test, they will hire you at $100,000 a year. Multiple income streams. Don't give up on your trading. Don't give up on inviting people to take the free trial. I'm going to spend a couple hours a day learning to write this Swift code myself. I won't stop being behind this mic. I won't stop sending out the alerts. I won't stop being your charming host that you are so kind to invite into your home, into your life, each and every day. This is what it's like when God broadens your horizons. How did that fellow put it? Enlarge my tent, O Lord. That was the prayer of Jabez. Some of you will remember that. That prayer is in the book of Numbers, which is a it's pretty dry reading numbers. It's just a lot of numbers. But buried in there is the prayer of Jabez, and I forget who the author was that stumbled across that prayer and turned it into a little book. And it was like a bestseller at the top of it even made it to the top of the secular bestseller list. Because he did such a good job of taking each line in the prayer of Jabez and extrapolating it out. It was, and plus it made you look like a really cool Christian when people came over and you had the hardcover version of the prayer of Jabez on your coffee table. I don't know if that stuff matters to you or not, but now that was quite a number of years ago. So, oh boy, trying to get to the right page, guys. Sorry, Michael just texted me again. This is good. Okay. All right. We've talked about a lot of good stuff this week. We've talked about the wonder of grace. We talked about flattery will get you nowhere. How about, have you ever felt wronged? Somebody done somebody wrong song? Yeah. A lot of country. That's a huge part of the country and western library. Let's see, my wife left me. I cracked a block in my pickup truck. Somebody ran over my dog. Oh boy, it goes on and on. Well, good news, friend. God will make it up to you, whatever it is. He'll fix it. Joel 2:25 says, I will repay you for the years the locusts have eaten. All right. Christine Steakley writes, loss can make us feel forsaken and utterly destroyed. Inside of 2 years, I lost my mother, I lost my father, and I lost my younger brother. I come from a small family. All that's left is my 92-year-old grandmother, who I love so very much, and my uncle, who, my dad's brother, we just never had a relationship. There's never been any animosity between us. We're never buds. Could have something to do with the fact that I live in Arizona and he lives in Georgia, but I made a promise to myself that I was going to start reaching out to him at least once a week, because he goes and visits Granny once, sometimes twice a day. She's an assisted living place, but it's residential. It's not one of those industrial complexes. She's in heaven. She loves it there. Loss can make us feel forsaken and utterly destroyed. I hid it from you guys pretty good when I came back each time. But I had my lonely hours, let me tell you. For many, divorce means leaving the house we grew up in, our neighborhood, our friends, our school, even our church, because we were ashamed and heard condemnation from those who should have been more concerned about our souls than gossiping behind our back. To use Joel's metaphor, locusts ate our family, more locusts ate our friendships, and still more ate our church. But God promised, never again will my people be shamed. Joel 2:26. I can't tell you what restoration will look like or even when it'll happen. Some of us will see relationships with parents and siblings mended. You know, I gotta tell you, this is the oddest thing. My stepfather, who my mother married when I was 8 years old. Now, her and my father maintained a good, healthy relationship all the days of their life. Even though they divorced when I was 7, they always remained friends. They were kind to each other. My dad always paid his child support on time. I mean, it was as healthy a divorce as there could possibly be. Okay? But a lot of divorces aren't like that. They're angry, they're bitter, there's custody battles, there's dirt, there's digging. I mean, man, it can get just terrible. So I'm thankful that I didn't have to go through that. Some of us will. Now, what I started to tell you is with my stepfather, he had 10 brothers and sisters, and they weren't even Catholic. I mean, and those of you that are Catholic know what I mean. What do you call people who use the rhythm method? Parents. All right. So anyway, 10 brothers and sisters, and I have never seen so much fighting and feuding and animosity over nothing. I mean nothing. The fighting and the squabbling and from the time I was 8 until I left for the Navy, half the family lived right on the same street. But they'd go for years without speaking to the one that lived 2 doors down. Because this one said something to this one, and this one told the other one about it, and oh, God. And the names, there was Tojo and Cootsie, and oh man, down south. I have an aunt and uncle. Her name is Wastel, and his name is Kleeman. I mean, down south, people have a lot of imagination. There's not a lot else to do, so they think up interesting names. But anyway, they were always at each other's throat about something. In my whole childhood growing up, from 8 years on, I can only remember the entire family, almost the entire family, sitting down for like a Thanksgiving meal or a Christmas dinner. And even then, there would be a conspicuous chair or two empty because so-and-so refused to come because so-and-so said something or did something or whatever. And as a child, I could just never understand it. It's like, your brothers and sisters, man, why can't you just get along? And that's what I teach my kids. I mean, it's natural. My son's 15, my daughter's 9, and sometimes they get along together just fine. They play board games. My son, who's very talented with the sax, he's teaching my daughter how to play the clarinet. But sometimes they just squabble over nothing, like who's going to sit on which side of the car. You know, silly stuff. Choose your battles, okay? But anyway, whenever I catch them squabbling, I usually just scream at them. But I've changed my modus operandi. I get their attention. I sit them down and I say, guys, it's time for the talk. They're like, oh, Dad, not again. Yeah? No, as long as you keep squabbling and fighting, you're going to keep getting the talk. Okay. The day's going to come when your mother and I are going to have crossed over. And because we were of a certain age when we adopted you at such a young and tender age, probably, Gabe, by the time you're 40, you may very well not have a father. Emily, by the time you're 35, you very well may not have a mother or a father. And so all you guys are going to have is each other. Now, what kind of relationship are you going to have? I want you to start thinking about that now. Gabe, you should be looking out for your sister, protecting her, caring for her, watching her back, giving stink eye to any boy that, talks to her too much or looks at her sideways, And Emily, respect your brother. He's a little older, a little wiser in some areas. And when he's teaching you music, he is a very talented musician. Don't be arguing with him and don't tell him that, you got some better. He's the teacher. You're, okay, Dad. Are we done yet? I guess so for this time. And you know what? It is getting better. It is getting better because I know that the time will come. He'll be 50, she'll be 45, and they'll have their own families, maybe even grandkids, and they'll have Thanksgiving dinner. Maybe one lives in San Francisco, the other lives in New York. I don't know, but one family flies to the other coast, and they have the big dinner. And there's a picture of Mom and Dad up on the wall, and they talk about the good times and the memories. And, God's really great like that. When we think back over the past, if we have the grace of God in our life, the bad stuff just kind of seems to fall away. And somehow miraculously we remember the good times. Isn't that awesome? Now, if you don't have the grace of God in your life, maybe all you remember is the bad stuff. You need to get some Jesus in your life so you can let go of the bad stuff. Because if you'll let go of the bad stuff, you'll start to remember the good stuff. And don't live in the past either. This weekend, this Memorial Day weekend, when you have an extra day off and you have time to spend with your family, create a memory that 30 years from now, when those kids are getting together for Thanksgiving dinner, they'll remember and talk about. And it doesn't have to be something that costs a lot of money. I'm not saying you got to take them to Disneyland. Take them up to the city park. Do a little toe fishing. Cook some hot dogs. Laugh. Run. Throw the frisbee. Love each other. That's what a family is. It's not about money and, fancy cars and big houses and all that stuff. It can be. I mean, if you got it, great. I'm really happy for you. You get to choose how you steward God's money. Just don't ever forget that whatever's in your possession doesn't belong to you. Your name may be on the title or the deed, but it all belongs to Him. And someday, He'll say, "What did you do with those talents I gave you? Did you hide them under a rock? Did you use them? Did you multiply them? Did you make the world a better place?" And nobody can stand in that spot for you. I said this yesterday. We come into this world naked with nothing. And many preach that we leave the world with nothing. Have you ever seen a U-Haul following a hearse? That's how they preach it. Well, I preach it differently. You leave this earth with something very, very important. Who you were. Because when you stand naked before the judgment seat, and again, I do hope there's loincloths or fig leaves. Who you were, the life you led. Now, is all of your sin under the blood? It is, if you've asked for forgiveness and if you've repented. See, some people don't get the part that the whole repentance thing means I'm sorry. What did Jesus always say when he would heal people or help people? He'd say, your faith has made you whole. Now go and sin no more. They talked to Paul and they said, hey Paul, this grace thing's awesome, man. It's like the more we mess up, the more grace God has. Shouldn't we just send up a storm so we get more grace? And Paul, I paraphrase, said, don't be an idiot. Oh, you knucklehead. Don't be an idiot. No, that's not what that means. It just means that if you do mess up, if you do stumble, if you do fall down, if you do relapse, if, things don't go the way you'd planned, God's mercy and grace is fresh every morning. How many times will he forgive you? Well, he tells us that we have to forgive our brother 70 times 7. And I think that was just a, what do you call it? I don't know that he literally meant 70 times 7. I think he meant as many times as you need to or have to. That's what I'm thinking. Hang on, guys. I got to find the page for Mike. Guys, I'm going to hit the mute button for 1 second. I'll be right back. I sent him $1,000 the other night. On the Contact Us page, right above the picture of the little boy. And he's back. Okay. Okay. Let me wrap up this good word for the day. I know you're chomping at the bit to get off on your weekend. The last scripture I gave you was Joel 2:26. Never again will my people be shamed. Okay. I can't tell you what restoration will look like or when it will happen. Some of us will see relationships with our parents and siblings mended. Others will build great marriages and loving. There were members of that family that did not come to my stepfather's funeral because they were carrying some grudge from 20 years ago. God, that is so ridiculous. And then there was some who actually showed up for the funeral out of some weird, act of duty or something. But then, when my mother became a widow, not once did they call her and say, hey, you need anything? Can I help you in any way? Bake you a casserole? That's a big thing down south when somebody passes, because you don't know what else to do. You just bake a ton of food and you go to their house and man, there's cakes and pies. Okay, we got fried chicken over here. I got 12 banana puddings over here, 3 German chocolate cakes over here. Just help yourself to whatever you want. Typically when somebody I care about passes away, I'm really not hungry. But it's just an act of kindness to show compassion and that you care. So, plus the people, who were closest to those who've passed, they don't feel like cooking. but they still need to put some food in their body so that they don't get sick. Others will build great marriages and loving families, and some may have to wait for heaven, where all wrongs will be righted, all wounds will be healed, and all tears will be wiped away. Kristen Armstrong says, resist the temptation to despair or delve into disappointment. You may feel like you've forfeited years, opportunities, finances, and a significant return on investment of self. But hear the fantastic promise of redemption. I will repay you for the years the locusts have eaten. No one on earth can make anything up to you. No one can pay. No one can set things right or make things fair. Pressure and manipulation will not bring justice. So let it go and let God fill your life with new blessings. If you're full of resentment and wrath, He can't find the space for His gifts. God will make it up to you if you keep an expectant attitude of faith. Now that is so important right there. Let that be the takeaway from this good word for the day. God will make it up to you if you keep an expectant attitude of faith. Well, maybe God will do something. Well, I sure hope God does something. No. I've read the book. I've read the promises. I expect God to do something. Not because He owes me anything, but because He said He would. And He's not a man that He can lie. So I'm not, being over the top when I say I have a positive expectation that God will move, because He said He would. But it also says that in order for Him to move, I have to have a positive expectation of faith. Without faith, it's impossible to please God. Hoping He'll do something, wishing He'll do something, that's not faith. Now, the other day we talked about doing a word study, and I so encourage you, because you got a computer, you got so many tools at your disposal, and they're free. Do a word study on faith. It'll take you back to the original Greek pistos. It's an action verb. We've turned it, in modern day religion, we've turned it into a noun. Hey, what's your faith? Baptist, Presbyterian, Methodist? Or something more along the lines of, keep the faith, baby. Noun. But it's supposed to be a verb. And so the way I explain it, when I'm explaining it, such as I'm explaining it now, is faith is not what you believe. Faith is what you do with what you believe. So, if you have an expectation of faith that God is going to move, then you carry on as if He already moved. Why are you cleaning out your closet? Because I need some new clothes for the job that I'm starting in 2 weeks. Oh, did you just come into some money? No. Well, why are you cleaning out your closet? Where are you going to get the money for the body? God gave me the job. He won't let me go in there looking like a beggar. So, as a positive show of faith, a positive expectation of faith, I'm making room in my closet for the clothes. I'm showing God that I believe that He'll do what He said He would do. He got me the job. Good Lord. Anybody in their right mind knows I wasn't qualified for it. Didn't have the resume. Didn't have the pedigree. Didn't go to Harvard or Yale, and I can't write Swift code. But they hired me. And I'm making $25,000 a year more than the company I was working for before that went out of business. If that ain't God, I don't know what is. If He can do all that, He can make sure you got something decent to put on. So get ready. Get ready right now. Wherever you are, whoever you are, whatever's going on in your life, get ready for God to do something big in your life. Why? Because you have a positive expectation of faith. If you're full of resentment and wrath, He can't find space for His gifts. God will make it up to you if you keep an expectant attitude of faith and thank Him for His promises, and that His promises are yours as a child of God. Man, I want to get up and preach, but I'm just going to say, and that's our good word for the day. All right? All right, let's do it. Let's get through. Let me see if there's anything I really need to bug you with in these headlines, and then we'll just jump right into the alerts, okay? All right, let me look at the chat box. Let's see if I've disturbed anybody. Came towards the end of your CTA price special. Could you repeat? James, currently the Concierge Trade Alerts are the same price. They're going up June 1st to $24.95 per quarter. And we're still going to offer a $1,000 discount on the annual subscription. Currently they're $19.97 per quarter. Let's see what else is in here. Alan asked, when is the seminar about the zones? When I finally hammer out the deal with Ticketmaster, when they give me a fair deal. If they don't give me a fair deal, I'm going to go to Live Nation. But once 500 tickets have been sold, then the date and the place will be announced. So it's probably going to be at least, I don't know. I could be surprised. If this is really, God's plan, which I kind of feel like it is, so, because doors are flying open left and right, it could happen sooner, but we're only going to sell 1,000 tickets, and once we have 500 sold, we will announce the place, the date, the time, the musical acts that will be performing, all details. Okay? And of course, if for some reason the Trade-A-Palooza is never held, your money will be 100% refundable. It will also be insured in case somebody slips and falls, and you'll be able to, for like $10 or something, buy insurance in case something happens at the last minute and you can't attend. Then the insurance company will give you your money back. Dwayne, where do I get the full info on the Swift offer you referenced earlier? Just Google Swift space Apple, and you'll get all kinds of stuff. Now, there's a bunch of people out there that want to sell you the courses. you got to really dig at this point to get. Apple will give you the stuff for free. I'm not saying that some of the courses that the people are selling aren't good courses. I don't know. I haven't even looked at them. I just know that Apple will give it to you for free. Okay? Hey, Pete, you have a great weekend, buddy. Okay, guys, if there's any because I'm getting ready to roll into the alerts. If there's any questions that haven't been answered, copy and paste them into the box. Mark Zuckerberg is advocating exploring a system in which all people receive a standard salary just for being alive. The system known as universal basic income is one of the trendiest economic theories of the past few years. There's some countries, I think there's one country, Iceland or Finland, where it's already in effect. Pokemon's new game for iPhone and Android is out. It's centered entirely around what is wildly considered its weakest, most useless creature, Magikarp. I do not allow, I'm just going to be honest, I don't allow my kids to do Pokemon. I think there's some kind of an evil spirit on that thing. And, not in my house. No cards, no cartoons, no nothing. Call me old-fashioned, call me a stick in the mud, that's okay. When I stand before God, He's going to look at me. He might say, dude, you really screwed up raising them kids. And I may hang my head and go, I know. But then He's going to say, but I know you tried as hard as you could to do the right thing. And then I won't hang my head quite so low. Google DeepMind defeated the best Go player in the world with its AlphaGo artificial intelligence. The company won the first 2 games in a 3-game match. Oh, brother. Go, in case you don't know, is the oldest board game known to man. I think it dates back about 2,000 years, and it's like 10 times more complicated than chess, and it's just a board with some marbles on it. I don't know how to play it. In fact, I know very little about it, except it's the oldest board game known to man, dating back about 2,000 years. And because with chess, how you got to think ahead 3, 4, 5 moves. With Go, they say it's even more complicated than that. Johnny Ive, the Brit who has risen to become Apple's chief design officer, has been appointed Chancellor of the Royal College of Art. He will take up the role in July and replace British engineer Sir James Dyson. Bitcoin blew past its record and soared to $2,800 a coin in just a few hours, and then it plunged by almost 10% to $2,230 a coin. Imagine if you're the guy that bought that $2,800 coin. 2 hours later, you're holding a $2,200 coin. Talk about volatility. There are hundreds of... I wish you could bring up a Bitcoin chart on DT Pro. That'd be awesome. And then I could use my indicators and all my knowledge and see if I could trade that thing. There are hundreds of piracy-enabling Cody gadgets for sale on Facebook, even after a ban. The devices are being sold through Facebook's marketplace platform. You know what, guys? We have the Fire Stick that you put the Kodi software on so that you can bootleg all these channels you don't have to pay for. Now, the Fire Stick's completely legal. It's when you put the Kodi software on it and start stealing stuff that you don't have a right to that's when you cross the line. Now, all kinds of people all over the world have their own justifications of why it's okay and just fine. And I admit, I sat one night and fiddled around with it and almost got it to work. And then something just struck me in my spirit. You're struggling with this, Dwayne, because it's not right. And so I told my wife, I said, honey, I'm not going to do it. She said, you know, you're right. We got more than enough stuff to watch. So that's the deal for us on Kodi. I'm not judging you if you're using it. You know, that's between you and God and the FBI if they come knocking at your door. Electric car startup Faraday Future is trying to raise $1 billion as cash runs thin. Faraday Future, once described as a potential Tesla killer, has run into financial troubles largely due to its connection with Chinese billionaire Jia Yuting. Microsoft has agreed to acquire cybersecurity firm Hexadite for $100 million. That's according to a report from Israeli financial news website Calculist. Oh, I got to tell you this. Google it. I should have emailed myself the article, but I didn't. There's a course out there you can buy for $79. Try Googling cybersecurity course, $79 leads to full certification. This course will teach you everything you need to know about cybersecurity. When you graduate and pass the test, you will get 3 certifications. And they say that you can walk into just about any place, you know, that has a big data farm, and you get a job. They don't care if you smoked pot in high school. Just show them the certificates, and they'll hire you. Now, I don't know how true that is, but if Apple says, we'll teach you for free and hire you, we'll start you at $100,000 a year, coming from Apple in a press release, I'm going to believe that. Okay? This other one, it sounded legitimate. We'll see. Facebook is beefing up its sales leadership team as it continues to battle for marketers' ad budgets against Google and the TV industry. The company has tapped digital veteran Nada Stirrett as its new vice president of global marketing solutions for the U.S. and Canada. In addition, Ty Ahmad Taylor has been named vice president of product marketing. And that's it, guys. Those are the 10 things you need to know today. According to me. Whatever that's worth. Okay, get ready to take your screenshot. I'm going to let it sit there for a minute. That little deal on the top of the GoTo app, that is a camera. Snap it, it'll save JPEG or whatever to your desktop. After the show today, you know I've been fasting all week on apples. Once I finish this plate full of apples and my 2 mentoring sessions, I gotta go do the lemon juice and the olive oil, and then I've gotta lay down and bring my right leg up to my chest and get ready for what I hear is the next 2 days are going to be pretty rough. But I'll get up Sunday and do the Concierge Trade Alerts. Alright? Alright, you got your picture? I hope so, because I got to take it away. Okay. On the ES, we wanted to be buyers at 24.15. Did that happen? Swing high, 24.15.75. Swing high 24.15.50. Well, I'm not going to pull your leg. That's a stomp out. Come on. Now, there's no reason you wouldn't have taken that trade. You might not have taken this one. I'd have to do the math, but I need to move fast. So, just call them both stop outs and we'll get on about our business. Consider selling 24.09. Man, were they out to get me or what? 24. The low was 24.825. Man, it's the truth about trading, guys. We posted some big numbers today, but not in the S&P. Now, the S&P is bumping up against all-time highs, right? Buyers are afraid to buy, sellers are afraid to sell. As soon as we get a nominally, we get a couple ticks higher, what happens? We get slapped down. We actually put in a lower high here, and we double topped here. Unless we can close above this double top, you know what? I'm going to change that. We need to close above the double top and above that spike high right there. And we could get a bullish run Sunday night on the Globex Open. All right. Otherwise, I would just find another market to trade for now. Let this thing do a deep sell-off, 24%, 38, and then it'll just have oodles of good trades. Some people come into the markets and they think that they have to trade the S&P. Okay? The S&P is a great market. Round the clock. At 3 a.m. in the morning or 9 p.m. at night, there's plenty of volume, liquidity. Of late, not as much volatility as we would like, but you can trade it around the clock, and you can trade 100 contracts at midnight. Not a problem. So, in talking with so many people in these mentoring sessions, when they tell me that, if it's our first session, okay, tell me about yourself, what sort of training and experience you've had. Okay. What market do you want me to work with you on today? S&P. Okay, I'll be happy to do that. Can I ask you a question? Why did you choose the S&P? Well, I thought that was the market I was supposed to choose. Okay, that opens the door to a great discussion. Okay. If they say, well, that's the market I've always traded. Okay. How long have you been trading it? 4 years? Okay. Have you been consistently profitable trading it? No, that's why I'm here. Oh, okay. Einstein said the definition of insanity is to continue to do the same thing and expect different results. I'm not saying the S&P is not a good market. I'm saying right now it's not the best market to trade. Because again, buyers are afraid to buy and sellers are afraid to sell. So you get kind of a range-bound market, and it carries over to the Dow. We got the same thing happening in the Dow. So I'm not picking on you when I ask you that question. I'm just trying to get you to open your mind to the possibility that, maybe you should embrace something else for a period of time. But if you're die-hard, no, all I want to do is trade the S&P. And if you can't teach me to trade the S&P, then there's something wrong with you. Oh, I can teach you how to trade the S&P. What I can't do is make the S&P move up and down. And guess what? In order to earn money, it's got to move up and down. So, but I'll do my best. All right, on the Dow, 21070. It went to 7.6. When the S&P goes sour, you can almost count on the Dow going sour as well. On the sell side of the Dow, 21045. 21045. Well, that had a little meat on the bone. Now, just so you think I'm not a total loser, go to emini.cfrn.net and watch some of the recaps. And I did it to prove, number one, that we weren't on some lucky streak, but we were on a streak where the market was flowing every day. So I did, and this is very time consuming, but I did a standalone recap about a month ago, 10 days in a row, Monday through Friday, followed by Monday through Friday, where after the radio show recap, I then fired up the video recorder and recapped the whole thing again. It's not so hard because the chart's already marked up, but it made it easier for people who don't want to sit through the whole radio show to get to the recap. Can you dig it? All right. So we wanted to sell 21045. I don't know what they're cooking downstairs, but God, it's making me nauseous. Fasting will do that. I have no desire for food, quite frankly. That's something a lot of people who've never fasted don't understand. After a few days, you don't even think about food. Although they had hamburgers the other night, and I gotta admit, when that smell wafted upstairs, I did kind of think about it. Okay, we dropped down to 33. So that's 12 ticks. Now let's ask ourselves a question. If we're going to sell 210.45 and our maximum risk is $300 per contract, how many points is that? At $5 a point, that's 60 points. Okay, so if we take 21,045 and we add 60 points to that, just got to put our stop loss. Right about. I didn't want that, but that'll work. That's not a weekly trading zone, guys. I was just trying to draw, and you know what? It'll confuse somebody. Let me do it the right way. My platform will cooperate. So this needs to go to 05. Okay, if we're going to use a $300 stop loss, that's what it looks like. Do we need a $300 stop loss? No. from 45 to 85. 45 to 85, that's 40 points. At $5 a point, we got a $200 stop loss. Now, does it look like it's coming up to catch or stop? It does. However, you had an opportunity to take 25 points. Okay, that's what the market made available. Okay, it's not a big deal, but you know, and when it started doing all this, you could have scratched out at break even. You know, you have options. When you move into the world of discretionary trading, you have options. When you're trading rules-based trading, which you have to learn before I'm comfortable teaching you discretionary trading, okay? I make more money, the company makes more money on the trade alerts. It's a whole lot less work. The amount of time I have to spend mentoring and teaching is tiny compared to the amount of time and energy I have to put into a 90-day mentoring program student. I make less money and I work harder, but I still tell you that's your best place to start. Once you master rules-based trading, then you're qualified to move into the world of discretionary trading. Some people don't want to wait. Some people are impatient. Some people want to jump the gun. And I can't stop you. I mean, if you insist that's, you know, that's what you want, that's what I'm going to give you. But I'm also going to give you the reasons first why I think you should do it the other way. And if you're insistent with the customer, and how's that saying go? The customer is always right, except when he's wrong. But you got to be nice. See how price always reverts to the mean? So beautiful. So 945, the low so far is 9. Oh, I wish I had better glasses. It says 925 and a quarter. Let's just make it 926. Okay. 45 minus 26. 45 minus 26. 19. 19 points times $50 per point is $950 per contract. Now remember earlier when I was speaking to John, there was $300 available at that point. $950. Come now. And I said, were this thing to drop all the way down to $1,000 and the indicators still look the same, even though we have the rule of thumb that says anytime you make $1,000 per contract in one day, now this market may actually be closed now, or it's getting ready to in a couple minutes, I'd take my money. Now let's do this one more time. 945 to 926. Let me do it again. 45 minus 26. 19 points times $50 per point, just like the S&P. It's $950 per contract available. That thing might even be lock limit down. I don't know. Bert would. Bert, you around? Okay. Moving right along. Bonds. Okay, the alerts went out at 1900. The It's right around here somewhere. All right. We wanted to be buyers at 54.15. What's the story on that? 54.15, no trigger. On the short side, sellers at 53.13. So 2 days in a row, no bond trigger. I mean, look how flat that thing is. That's no party I want to get invited to. All right. Oh, gold. And we already figured gold out, 800 bucks. Consider buying 1260. That's what the email I sent you last night said. Right there, $800 per contract available. Did it go a little bit higher? It did. But if you were trailing your stop the way I teach you, when it pulled back here, there's a good chance you got stopped out with your profit. Okay? So that's great. All right. The sell was 935 on ZS. Oh, what did I put? Oh, you're right. I put 945. But I put the line at 35. And I wrote the buy, what? Something went screwy, Louie. Oh, yeah, the buy was 945. The sell was 935. Thank you so much for paying attention, Joe. Now, let's fix that. Good Lord. I would not want that on my permanent record. This is why I drag it out, even if you're not a subscriber, you know, so you can call me on it. All right. Okay. So now let's do the math the right way. We said 25, 25. We're going to round it up to 26. So 35 minus 26. That's pretty easy. That's 9 points times $50 per point. That's $450 per contract available. Okay? Thank you very much, Joe. Guys, you're never going to offend me by helping me get something right. Okay? So don't ever be shy. Okay, now let's move to, already did gold. Okay, I got 2 sessions coming up, so I gotta take a break. I feel like one of those employees at Foxconn, except I get to sit down. Alright. Okay. NQ. Consider selling 57.66. Well, that didn't happen. Consider buying 57.86. Well, that happened just enough to take you off. Man, these markets, when they don't follow through, wow, that'll leave a mark. $57.86. The good news is you have all kinds of tools at your disposal. See, when I send the alert out at 1900, I have no idea what the chart's going to look like at 4 a.m. I'm not psychic. 57.86. Oh, sell 57.66. Okay. Okay, so the short side never happened, but the long side by 57.86, that happened. I don't want to make any more mistakes. Now, when I tell you that you have tools at your disposal by 57.86. See, once you go through the mentoring program, you own the indicator set for life. Let's take a little look at something. Just for a minute. In this case, because of the way the indicators are set up, I would have probably taken this trade, okay? Because we had a bullish cross, price had pulled back. I would have taken this trade, I wouldn't have got stopped out, and then I'd have had this run up, and probably by this point down here I would have got stopped out. Okay, but would I have taken this trade? Probably not. Why? Because on the 30-minute chart, the last thing I had was a bearish cross. That's not conducive. Okay? After the bullish cross, like right now, would I take it? Oh, I'd be all over that thing. So, what was the potential gain? It went up to 57.91. Okay, that's 5 points at $20 per point. So that's $100 per contract available. Now, because many of you would not have used this, you would have taken this trade. Let's look at the risk. From, I don't know, 16. There's 20. The risk would have been, God, right at 300, about 320. You probably would have passed because the risk would have been a little over $300. So, even if you weren't using the indicators, you would not have taken this based on the fact that we refused to risk more than $300. Now see, what's beautiful about this trade is your risk is practically nothing. Got to get it right about right there. And the trades that have the least amount of risk will almost always offer the greatest amount of profit. As you study them, as you work through them, you'll get the hang of it. Okay. Now, like if I popped on every day or you know, occasionally and did a recap of the Concierge Trade Alerts, you know, like when we had a really good day, you know, then that should make you very suspicious. But I've been doing this every day for years, okay? Nobody gets lucky years in a row. It just doesn't happen. Not in this universe. Okay, let's go back to 1900 hours. Okay. All right. That's last night, 1900. Crude oil. We wanted to be buyers at 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. 49.05. Look at that, zone to zone. Man, I love it. Zone to zone. $49.05. Is that it? 49.05. Okay, buy 49.05. Buy 49.05. Okay. Okay, so it triggers. Now you gotta measure your stop. Does it qualify? If it does, it ran up to 32, so that would be $280 per contract available. As explained on the trading video, the 30-minute chart is not a magical chart. There are no magical time frames. It's the time frame that you get comfortable with. What you can do is you can use a 30-minute, and if you don't have the proper risk profile, you can drop down to a 5-minute, and you might find that you've got a significant swing low that you can put your stop under. So you've got very little risk on the trade, and it either moves in your favor or it doesn't. Okay. All right, on this one, you know, that might have been too much risk. But that's that. I don't know if that even qualifies as pocket change risk. But I love it. 49.05 up to 49.86. Is that right? 86? 49.86. 86 minus 5 would be $810 per contract available. Now, oh, come on, D-Wayne. There's only one more market to go, so if you have any questions, make sure you get them in the chat box, all right? $810 per contract available. Now, a lot of partners, as they saw price approaching this zone, they would have really tightened up their stop. And so this little pullback right here could have took you out. I don't know that you would tighten it up that tight, but what did price do? It consolidated for 2+ hours in this zone, this 1-point zone. And now it looks like it might want to run up to the zone overhead. I don't know. Say, now what was the short side on crude? 48.35. And the swing low, yeah, it got triggered. Sure did. 48.35. Let's try this another way. $8.35. All right, 48.35. Okay, calculate your risk. If the risk is acceptable, 48.35 Your risk has got to be about 49.10 from 48.35. In order for the risk to be acceptable, okay, 30 ticks is $300. So 48, if we're selling 48.35, let me just break it down for you. I've never broken it down this simple outside of a class, but yeah, I'm just gonna. It's my Memorial Day gift. Okay, I got plenty more to teach in the room. 48.35 is what we're selling. Okay, we double check that. Crude oil. So 48.35, yeah. Okay, so $300 above that would be where? 48.70. Where's 48.70? Right there. Okay? And so that doesn't qualify. That doesn't qualify. Unless you could find a entry that allowed you to risk less than $300 on a 5-minute chart, or a 15-minute chart, or on some other, or volume chart, then you've got no trade. Well, it triggered 48.35. Don't just be blindly selling stuff because I said that's an important price, an important area. It is. It got tested, and then hours later it got tested again. It is an important price, important area. But when I tell you that over here at 7 p.m. Eastern, I have no way of knowing what the market is going to look like at 2300 hours and at 8 a.m. the next morning. Not a prophet, okay? Not a psychic, not Gene Dixon. I know how to read the chart. I know how to read the people behind the charts. Price is actually secondary. It's the people behind the charts. Now, what we know when we sit down or when we lay our head on our pillow, we don't know if price is going to go up or down. Nobody does. Oh, of course, people tell you on their website how they're right 89.6% of the time and all this other stuff. You know. But it's not my job to sit in judgment of those folks. Truth of the matter is, we all have an opinion of where the market's going. Okay? You can't, once you've been around the charts for a while, you can't help but have an opinion. But the point is you don't trade off your opinion. You trade off what's in front of you. Okay? So, with the Concierge Trade Alerts, I'm not prophesying the market's going to rally tomorrow, the market's going to sell off tomorrow. Those guys come and go. They're a dime a dozen. I tell you, at this spot, if price hits it, I want to be long if I can be long and risk $300 or less. If price hits this spot, I want to be short if I can risk $300 or less. And if you've got all day and plenty of patience, sit around and wait for the $150 risk. They come all day long. All right, this is our final chart of the day, final chart of the week. By 1385, no haps. And sell 1373. No haps. The swing low was 73.5. And we decided yesterday that if there was no trigger on either side, we would type in no triggers. So I don't have to type it twice. Okay. Okay. and OK. Now, that's not what I want. I want this. This is the final time I'll remind you. The Memorial Day special. We will knock 5. If you want to become a partner, enter the mentoring program. Spend the next 90 days with us. At the end of 90 days, you can stay connected to the womb for $75 a month. We will knock $500 off the price, off the list price of the mentoring program. And we will build a house for a widow in Kenya. Right across the border is our orphanage, New Hope Orphanage and School. My wife first broke ground there in 2000. Now, James wrote that religion, pure and undefiled before God, is to care for orphans and widows in their affliction. Okay? So that's what we're doing. Now, God may have called you to some other task, right? So I'm not asking you to give me money to build a house. I'm taking $500 off the cost, and then out of our profits, our company profits, I'm taking the money out of our company profits to build a house. But I'm going to do you a solid. I'm going to put a little plaque on the side of that house that says, funded by you, a CFRN partner, whatever your name is. Then you'll get a picture of the widow before the house is built. You'll get a picture of the house and the widow when it's finished. And if any time along the way you want to maybe go down to the phone card store, you can buy cards that let you call Africa really cheap. I can make arrangements for you to talk to her by phone. She might even have an email address. You're like, what? She didn't have a house? How she have an email address? In third world countries, in the little villages, they might have one computer. It's called the internet store, the internet cafe, and you pay, 10 centavos or 10 shillings or whatever currency is wherever you're at, and you get 5 minutes on the computer. So you might be able to build an email relationship with her. Oh my God, my house is half finished. I'm so excited. I can't thank you enough. I'm praying for you every day. When you start building those kinds of relationships, your life changes. You change. People that don't even know you're doing this, okay? They say, what's up with you? You seem different. What's going on? You hit the lottery? You just grin and say, no, kinda. The spiritual lottery. You leave it at that. You don't have to tell anybody that you built the house for. You're welcome to tell anybody you want. You can put it on a billboard if you want to. Or you can keep it between you and God. I don't know. However you want to play it. It's entirely up to you. June 1st, the price of the Concierge Trade Alerts increase to $24.97 per quarter. If you take an annual subscription, we'll still save you $1,000 off the price. Okay? As you've seen, a week's worth of trading can cover you for the year. Okay? And if you haven't seen enough recaps, just go to emini.cfrn.net. Scroll back as far as you want. Go back a year, go back 2 years. Watch the recaps. Long time ago, I used to recap them on the 4-tick range chart. God, that was tedious. I said, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to go to a 30-minute chart, and I'm going to let the chart show people where to put their stop. And we're going to draw the line at $300 risk per trade. And that really, when I started teaching it that way, people got really excited, because that was something. I heard somebody that Michael was doing a mentoring session with the other day. They talked about how it crossed the line 16 times on a 4-tick range chart. Of course it did. But on a 30-minute chart, that's just part of a 30-minute candle. That's how price works. Back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and up and down and back and forth and up and down. That's just the nature of the markets. Price is oscillating back and forth between the bid and the ask, until some big player steps into the market and throws down an order to buy or sell 1,000 S&P contracts. That'll move the market. The last 10 minutes of a candle will often give you 80% of the movement of that candle, whether it's a 30-minute or an hourly candle. Now, I used to always use hourly candles, and I was really solid about that on an hourly. So you can look at hourly. It's okay. You can look at 30. You can look at. There is no magic time frame. Doesn't exist. It's like looking for a black cat in the dark. Doesn't exist. All right, glasses on. Look at the chat box, and I'm out of here. And I'm going to take a break for a whole 23 minutes before my next session. Okay, what have I got here? Dwayne, where'd I get? Okay, I already gave the information on the Swift. Joe, I got that. Thank you so much. And is the seminar venue for trading zones, will it be wheelchair accessible? If it needs to be, I'll make sure that it is. Absolutely. In fact, let me make a note. Not that you're making a commitment that you're going right now, but I just think that it should be. And I hope you will come, but I think it should be. And I thank you for bringing that up. The stop was over 700 on the last crude long. Let's go look at it. I think that's what I said, wasn't it? No. The stop on the last crude long is right there. I don't think that's $700. I can get a straight line. Come on now. Okay. What do we got? 48. Oh, come on. 48. Don't need you. 48.85. Okay. From 48.85 to 49.05. 20 cents at $10 a tick. Your risk was $200 on that trade, not $7. Do you see it, Joe? You risked $200 and the market made $8.10 available. The trades with the least amount of risk will quite often provide the most profit potential. Okay? When you and I do our one-on-one session, I'll go over that with you in more detail, okay? $200 risk, $800 profit potential. Now, going into the trade, you didn't know it was going to go 800, but what you should expect going into the trade is that it's going to either go to the zone or at least try to go to the zone. Do you follow me on that, Joe? Because I don't want to leave you confused over the whole weekend. Okay. All right. I just want to make sure you understood. All right, perfect. And guys, have a great weekend. You know, I always say this stuff about spend quality time with your family, but I mean it. I read an article from a woman the other day who worked in palliative care most of her life as a nurse, and she said the most common theme among men who were getting ready to pass was they wished they had spent more time with their family. She says, I think 20 or 30 something years, not one man ever said, I wish I had spent more time at the office. But we've got dreams. We want to do things, you know. Things cost money, especially ministry. You want to go to Africa, hold a crusade, preach to 10,000, see souls get saved, see Muslim souls get saved, and feed them? You better bring your checkbook. No, you better bring cash, because we don't take checks. Actually, you have to send the money over ahead of time and get everything ready. So, balance. That's what we need. We need to pray. God, we pray that over the weekend, as we get to relax a little bit, that you'd speak to our hearts and our minds and teach us about balance. Your word says that he who does not work shall not eat, so we know that you want us to get up and work every day. But there's also scripture about being the priest of the home, and being a good husband, and a good father, and a good mother. And so, that's our prayer today, God. Help us to learn balance. The kind of balance that you want us to have, so that we can be all that you created us to be. Not only the businessman or the trader, but also the father, and the husband, the friend, and the lover, the teacher, and the student. In Jesus' name, amen. Love you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with his mercy and with his grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading Emini Futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.